All right, welcome everyone. We are joined by Mr. Luke Schwartz, known as Full Flush One. Luke, how you doing, man?
Well, good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I saw you not too long ago. You were playing some high stakes mixed games over in the UK. Ran into you, and I know you've been frequenting the high stakes games and doing very well. You had a nice showing live at Nottingham. You actually rarely see it where a guy gets up a couple hundred G's and then gets asked to leave, which is kind of fun. It's actually happened to me one time, and I was kind of like, all right, whatever, right? Like it's like if you're stuck and get asked to leave, it's insane. But you're up, you chill, take a win. We'll get to that later, but tell us a little bit about those that maybe don't know you. Most people know you in the poker world. Tell us a little bit about how you got into poker. When you first saw it, and tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Well, actually, I got into poker. I did some other gambling first, but I was introduced to poker by my parents, very young age, maybe like even 9 or 10 or something like that. Because my parents are actually American, and well, they lived in America, and my dad's fully American. Anyway, so I used to go to New York for like summer holidays and shit, and it would be a traditional thing to play 7 card stud with like family members for cents or coppers or whatever.
I've never heard that term. Coppers? What's that? Just for some
Yeah, I
small
mean coppers
coins?
is just like the bronze money, so
The
it's not very
pennies, the
much money.
pennies,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pigeon
pennies,
stuff. Yeah,
pennies, yeah,
pigeons
pence
and
and
pennies.
pennies. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So your family was like into it. They were like even like
Yeah,
kind of
and
showing it
it
to
was
you.
kind of like, and I remember actually having, I actually remember a hand when I had quad deuces from like this, it could be 25 years ago, and I remember that hand, but I remember still losing on the night, and I remember my aunt saying to me, "Well, you paid to have fun," type thing. So it was like, I mean, obviously I didn't pay, I didn't have any money then, but she's like, because I really wanted to win and I didn't win. And
Right,
she's like, yeah, but you paid for the enjoyment, even if you lose a dollar or two or whatever. So
right. That
that was
kind
my
of
first like kind of
ingrained in your
experience
head.
with poker.
Well, when did you first kind of? So did that? I would imagine that sort of died a bit, or just was like, all right, some
Yeah,
fun. But
that
when?
kind of, obviously I became a teenager and then didn't do so much like family stuff, whatever. I got into other stuff and then, I think I was about 18. I used to play actually pub fruit machines. Like
Mhm.
I met this guy I knew from my days of doing graffiti and doing wild shit like that. And I was out in a club in London at a place called Cheapskates. I remember it, where you could get like the dirtiest, cheapest alcohol for like £1. So like all students and shit would go there.
It was actually
Anyway, I
called
must been
cheap.
about
It was called cheap steaks.
no Cheapskates.
Cheapskates. Cheapskate. Okay, yeah. All right, that
Yeah.
makes okay.
So a lot of people used to go there, and I met this guy in there who I used to know from back in the day, and I'd heard that he was making money from um, like fruit machines, which is like in the UK in pubs or bars, there's always like a slot machine basically. It's like a £25 jackpot or £15 jackpot it was back then. And I said to him, "Oh, teach me how to do it." And very nicely of him, he basically showed me the ways. So the next day we went out and he showed me a few tricks on different machines. There was like a machine called Pie Factory where there was a cheat where you could get every time you got a jackpot, there was a little way of getting another jackpot straight away. So I'd go around hustling like I got pretty good. He taught me a few things. I learned a few things. And I'd go around all day. This was just when I was at like university. I'd skip university. I'd take the train back to London and go hustling fruit machines all day, going from pub to pub, like buying 50 pence blackcurrant soda water, not even drinking anything, going straight to the machine, winning like 10, 15, £20, and then and getting out of there before, the angry fucking pub owner wanted to kick my head in. So that was kind of how I used to get money back as a late teen, and then I was doing that for like a couple years, and a lot of the time, at the end of the day, I'd go and spend like £30 or £50 of whatever I won from the fruit machines. I'd put it onto William Hill Poker
Mm.
and try and spin it up. Um, and obviously that failed for a while. But then one day I won a tournament for £10,000.
When was that? What year was
That
that
was
roughly?
like in 2004, or maybe 2000, yeah, 2004, I think. And then I never played a fruit machine again. And then players were so bad that then I had a £10,000 roll, and pretty quickly after that, I was playing 5-10 no limit hold'em, like
Right.
online.
Let me ask you. Let me interrupt you because this fascinates me, and I actually brought this up to someone, and I'm pretty sure it has to be the reason. But your name is Full Flush One, and it wasn't until a few years down, recently that I got some nicer things and a nice toilet, and I saw the Full Flush on the fancy button toilet. Is that what that's from? Is that what the
No,
name is?
but whenever used to go to Prague EPT, I used to always see Full Flush like on the toilet. So
Okay.
yeah, no, it's just random. It was just
Okay, I
like
thought that was the reason. Like it's kind of like a gangster toilet. I was thinking like that you were just like, yeah, this is like I got expensive stuff. It's a cool name, but I didn't know where it originated.
no, it was originated like a little play on words, like a full house, but it's a full flush. And
Okay, all right, there. All right, the answer. I think I actually told someone that was the reason was the toilet. But I was just guessing. So now we know. Okay, fair enough. So sorry to interrupt you. So okay, so you're getting you start you put some money on. You're not quite getting it going. You then kick it into gear a bit, and then how did you sort of like explode and get the roll going?
So that was like 2004, late 2004, 2005, when I won that tournament for 10,000 on the site. William Hill was part of Cryptologic. It was a beautiful software. It was lovely. And then I just started grinding cash, basically, 2.5 and 5.10 and 10.20 a bit. And I went broke several times back and forth between say 2005 and maybe. Well, I've been broke several times back and forth over the 15 years, but between 2005, 2007 or so, I was going broke just playing 5-10 and then running it back up and stuff like that.
Right.
And it was I went to Vegas in late 2007 with my friend Matthews. I don't know if you know him. He might have been a bit before your time. He still plays online, but he was a sick player back then. Basically, he used to play 200, 400 PLO on full tilt like in 2008 or 2007, before everyone even knew how to play PLO.
Right.
Anyway, so I went to Vegas with him, and he was like watching me play online, and I was like a huge nit basically, and he was like, no, you gotta up the aggression basically.
Right.
And because obviously when I first started playing, you could just be a basic nit and like beat because there was so many bad fish.
I heard Moneymaker recently was saying, and I forgot this. I've heard it. It was illegal to check raise at one point in poker. You couldn't check raise. That was like frowned upon.
Well, that was the thing. When you flopped a set, you would like limp with a pair, and you'd flop a set, and you'd lead out, and they'd raise, and then you'd raise, and then they'd raise, and then you'd 7-bet all in.
Right.
Like it was a very different game. But that's what you had to do to win. Yeah. And then obviously it got a little bit difficult, a little bit harder. And then end of 2007, 2008, I went to Vegas with him, and he goes, yo, instead of just calling, I mean, it's very simple. It's like the guy said in Rounders. He's like, instead of just calling pre-flop, anytime you're going to call, just re-raise. Mm-hmm. And it's literally all he said to me. And it transformed my game completely.
Right.
So I literally started free betting. I must have been free betting like 40% of the hands. And people
didn't know how to respond in their mind. It's like aces or kings or ace king suited maybe or queens, and that's like it. And then they're just like on defense, and then they see some of your showdowns at some point, and they're probably like, "What the hell?" But even then, they probably don't know how to adjust, right? At that point,
exactly. And no one really 4-bet or did much, and I had a very easy time. I already had a good instincts, like when people were bluffing and shit like that. But I was always quite tight, and then this like totally reformed my game, and then I just turned into a super beast at the beginning of 2008, and like I didn't even have a losing day for like a year or something. It was like I was playing 2-5 and 5-10, and then by the end of 2008, I was playing 250, 500 on Betfair heads up, whoever and whenever and whatever.
Right.
So it was a sick year, and I went to Bahamas in 2009. That's the first time like I met a lot of other poker players that weren't like my friends. Like I met Bryn Kenny out there for the first time.
Yeah.
That's the first time as well. Like Victor Blom Isildur got onto the scene then as well. I'd been playing him a bit on the Euro sites, and then we used to battle all day, and yeah, had some crazy swings back then. And then not long after, he exploded onto the scene as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. You look at back in the high stakes cash days, it's like the names, those, Jungle Man and Isildur, Full Flush, like Antonius, Ivy, like you're in the mix playing the biggest games. I actually just noticed something on your Hendon Mob, which is maybe the most impressive thing I've ever seen in my life in poker, which I'm realizing though there's some heats and stuff, so it's smaller fields, but your first 18 results are final tables. Granted, some of that's the Premier League, right? So it's basically like final tables, but either way, it shows up. Like if you look at it, the string here, the first ones aren't, right? They're actual multiple, just regular tournaments. So you actually went final table, final table, final table, final table, final table, and then these are kind of heats and like sit and go. So whatever, but it's just how it reads. It's like 18 final tables in a row is pretty cool. Tell me about that first ever tournament you played, because that must have got you a little bit hooked. That the first tournament you ever played was a final table, which is pretty cool. So what was that like? Did
that was in Brighton, yeah. So yeah, I mean that was I was very tight then. Everyone was very tight on that table. I remember we did like a 5-way deal or something. I got like 10 grand, and that was. But the tourney I was talking about was an online tournament before. But yeah, that was my first live tournament.
But it's nice though. The final your first one you ever play, you make the finals, kind of exciting, right? That happened to me too on my Hendon Mob. First ever was a FT, and it kind of gets you like hooked, and you're like, oh, this is cool, or it's fun, and it's possible, and all that. So yeah, that's cool. I mean, and then online though. So yeah, tell me about that tournament. You said you got a big score in that online.
No, the online thing was what kind of like just made me not have to grind fruit machines and maybe able to play poker.
I've never heard that term, fruit machines.
Yeah, so that was what kind of like changed my profession essentially.
Right.
But yeah, the tournaments you're talking about there was kind of interesting because I think that was in like 2010, and when I got all those like final tables and stuff, and those were all like Eddie Hearn's shows, and they were all that was when like live poker was kind of sick. And the funny thing about that was, so like the year before 2008, 2009, I was like a monster, like playing highest games or whatever. But in 2010 or around that time, I was actually pretty broke. I had lost sort of everything I'd won back. I mean, I put some money away in that, but I was pretty cash broke.
But was that from poker or sports? You said you had a little bit of a downfall, or sports kind of got you.
Well, the sports was later on. Okay. I had a big downswing on like, I didn't know. At the end of my run on Full Tilt, I think I had like maybe 2 mil in there at one point, and I cashed out 1 mil, and I had 1 mil left on there, and I couldn't really get no action at No Limit. Mm-hmm. Like the DGen just came out inside, and I ended up just fucking going and playing PLO versus all the guys who've been playing years, and I was like so bad at PLO, like I really had zero experience. So I think I lost it all back pretty quickly then.
Anyone in particular? Was there a couple guys you were battling? The guy was just like any games going. It was just whatever.
Yeah, it was just I'd just jump in and get. Well, what it was is that it was the HA games were running back then, so it was 500, 1,000, half Hold'em, half PLO.
Okay.
So I would jump in anyway. I got torched, and then I think my mind was just in a bad place because I don't know. I'd lost that money. I lost some money elsewhere. So going into all those live tournaments, I didn't really have that much money or anything. And I remember Eddie Hearn, who's like he runs Matchroom Boxing. He's like a sick boxing promoter, literally the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
He was doing the poker shows back then, 4-party poker and Premier League and all that. And he's like, yo, you're a personality. You got to get on the shows. And I kept fucking final tabling and winning the heat and then finally tabling. And I was like, it was so many times where I come second or third. And it felt like I just missed out because if I had won any of those tournaments, I'd have probably had a Full Tilt deal back then, and things probably would have been quite different. But I just missed out like about 4 different times on those final tables.
Right. It's
And
funny how
then,
that works too in tournaments like the variants, right? You see
yeah,
these Dan Coleman, Fedor Holtz, like these kind of heaters and stuff that happen. Bonomo had one as well. And then there's like times like Mercier back in the day. It's like you lose a flip or you win, or you could be good, bad, or the other guy could be
crazy
better. It doesn't
butterfly
matter.
effect.
You're a 12-1 chip lead. You don't win. You get unlucky, and all of a sudden some guy wins 3 tournaments in a row, and people say he's the best in the world. And it's kind of funny
Exactly.
how it works in tournaments, right? It's such
Yeah,
a fine line between how that all goes down. Different than cash games where it's
very
more
different.
consistent, but yeah, still good results. So you're making money, you're doing well, and then where does it go from there? What kind of what are you doing at that point?
So that was probably like 2010, 2011. Um, then I had my first child. I think I felt pressure of that a bit. Like I turned a bit nitty again after that. I kind of lost my mojo a bit.
Okay.
Maybe it wasn't for that. Maybe it was from going kind of broke from before. So I had a couple rough years between say 2011 and well, they weren't that rough. I mean, they were up and they were very swingy. Like I went to Vegas and in 2012. I'd had hardly ever played any mixed games. I mean, I had played it a bit. I thought I was really good, but and I ended up coming fourth in the 50K for
Yeah, I see
400,000,
that right now. That's pretty sick. That's
which
like the
was
most
like pretty
prestigious
sick since
tournament.
I was just fucking clicking buttons basically.
Where is that? Let me find that. That was 2012.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
right
that was
here.
that was an okay year actually. And I think 2013 kind of didn't go so well. Yeah, I was kind of just like hustling up and down for the next couple of years actually.
You say first child. How many do you have? Two
I've
or
two kids,
and
yeah,
how old are they now?
9 and 4.
And what are you? You're 35.
Yeah,
30,
35. Yeah.
35. Okay, yeah. I got a 10-month-old. It definitely
Oh,
is.
I didn't
It's
know that.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks. It's great. It is. It's kind of it's hard though, right? Because it's like you like playing, you want to travel, you want to do stuff, but you also want to be involved, and it's like you try to find that right balance, what's right and wrong, and
Yeah,
it's a bit
it's
tricky because
hard. I mean,
yeah,
there's
poker you
not.
got your own schedule, right? So it's actually a
Yeah,
blessing, but at the same time you could find yourself kind of like struggling with that because then you actually it's like oh, I don't have to work 9 to 5, and then what do I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at, where I'm like, I like
yeah.
doing
It
stuff,
is a
but
tough to balance it with life and poker and family. I mean, that's why you
hmm
see like a high percentage of poker players don't have kids. I mean,
right.
I'd be interested to see a stat, but I would say like poker players under 40 probably 10% have kids or something like that. I don't know, but
Yeah, it's probably about right.
it's kind of weird. Yeah,
Any
but
any advice to me, others, anyone having kids that are into poker? Is there any things you'd say you've learned or that you've kind of shifted and just sort of along the way that maybe at the beginning that you would give some advice now?
well, I was like now I spend loads more time with my kids. And when my son was very young, I was still recently kind of just off that like downswing from full tilt and stuff, and I couldn't think about anything else apart from poker and gambling. So,
Right.
I literally just I didn't really do much apart from fucking try and spin back up on full tilt when he was young. So I wasn't in the right mind frame at all. But now, I don't play as much at all. I mean, I still play a lot, but nothing like that. So yeah, obviously, family's definitely most important, 100%. I was only 25 though, and my head weren't right, and so I made a few mistakes like that.
Right.
Definitely didn't spend enough time with the family as a young family. But
You went to university or did you not? You were basically playing cards all the way through. Did you ever go?
I followed my friends to university. I didn't actually go to university. I mean, I got into university somehow. It's a fucking fluke because I didn't even. You got to get in England. You got to do GCSEs, and then you got to do A levels, and then if
Right.
you get good A levels, you get into university. So I got pretty poor GCSEs. Then I went to college to do A levels, sixth form college. I got zero A levels. All my friends were going to university, to the same university, and I was like, man, I can't miss out on this.
Right.
The university were like, well, you got no A levels, you can't come. And anyway, I must have written some long ass letter talking shit. I had personal problems. And they fucking let me into the university. It was a good university as well. So I've gone to the uni with no qualifications. I had no intention of doing anything or going to a
Right.
lecture. I wanted to fuck around and have fun. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I was up there for like I was on campus for a year, and then I was there for like a year and a half. But
Where
I
was
did.
which city?
It was in Brighton.
What? Oh, is that's where? So around the
It
time,
was
that's where that
Suffolk
tournament.
University, but it was in Brighton. Yeah, it's a
How
good
does it work?
university.
How does I actually I feel like I don't really understand like university in the UK versus a lot of people living at home or their dorms. There's no fraternities in the UK, right? It's not like that, right? It's different.
Fraternities, nah. There's no frat boys, nah.
All right.
But no one really lives. If you go to university in London, you might live at home, but most of the universities are outside London, so you'd go outside London, live in dorms or whatever, and you wouldn't live at home.
Okay, I just hear like
So
different
that's
parts of
what
the
I
world.
did
Like
basically.
American university is so different, like that's
Yeah.
it's like when I people are like, oh, I heard about it. So have you ever gone to university, like some campuses and parties and stuff? Did you ever come over and kind of get to see
No,
some
listen,
universities?
I've seen a lot of movies about it, and it looks like it's the fucking funnest shit ever.
It's up
So
there, yeah.
I
It
wish
is.
I'd probably been growing up in America just for that shit, because that sounds unreal.
It
But
is fun. I mean, it's
I mean,
pretty
listen,
much
uni,
true.
it probably wasn't like that. Obviously, it was different, but I mean, still, uni in England is fun. You make it what it is as well. There was still plenty of parties, and there was loads of fun shit going on. So, I mean, I had a blast.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't there's no pool parties and no fucking whatever else Project X type shit going on. Yeah, different climate.
Okay. Well, that's all right. So you go to Brighton. You're there. You're playing that. So this is when did you kind of like? All right, poker's fun. You're doing fruit machines, whatever that means, like the slots and stuff. You're grinding. You got the hustler mentality. You like games. You find you can make money. When did you actually like hit like six figures? Was it like quickly? Did it kind of like go like this, or when did you actually like have like such a role? Because I remember seeing documentaries on you. I think the guy, what's his name, Andrew Feldman, some other guys, or some kind of like clips I saw and stuff. They're doing like a high stakes, like a life of high stakes, and you said you cash out $1 million online. I mean, that's a lot back in the you were young.
Yeah, that
And
was. I mean, as I said, I kind of picked up a lot of heat in 2008, and I think I got my first six-figure role like in 2008, and yeah, I had like I had a few million actually in 2009 at one point. Um, yeah, so those were big highlighted years.
Okay, and then what about your parents? What are they saying? You have siblings, brother, sister? Do you have any?
Yeah. So my sister's an academic. She lives in America. She's like on her 7th year of a PhD thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my parents, they're pretty left wing. They're kind of cool with it. They didn't say too much. They've seen the swings and like the pain, like so because obviously as a poker player, you know the lows are pretty low. So they've seen when I've been moody and cancelled dinners or whatever else, and so
Right.
that's not good. But I mean, as I say, in the last like five years, it's been very different. I kind of changed my attitude a lot. Like my whole mood and shit don't just depend on whether I'm winning or losing. So yeah, it's all good.
And give me like the highs and lows, because that's I think what separates a lot of people. Similar to Tilt, right? Everyone I think I play in some pretty good private games, and even people that aren't professionals, their A game is like still okay, right? And like B and C, you're playing at the highest top level. I mean, we were in London. I got to see you. I was there hanging out, playing with some tough guys and some mixed games and such. But you're doing well, I know overall. Give me a little bit of like the mental side of it, dealing with like when you're like crushing or when you're really not doing good, because from an outside, just like not knowing you so well, but seeing, I feel like you've gone through some massive swings, even like with the sports betting and stuff. How have you dealt with I mean, winning, it's a lot easier, right? When you're doing well, everything's just like whatever. How have you dealt with like coming back from like some like the depths where you're like, have you had times you're like, I just got to do something else, this isn't going to work? Or have you always been like, no, I know I'm going to make a comeback, or things are fine? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of those like highs and lows. As I was saying, like I was kind of like just floating around in like 2013, 2014, 2015. Then I got into sports betting a bit, and I didn't play as much poker, and things were going well in sports, and then they started going a bit badly, and then they went like super badly, and I turned into like a super degen, and like anyway, I got into big holes, huge holes, which I've now got out of anyway. But there was some crushing lows, and those times, that was like in 2016 and that 2017 maybe. that's when I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to do something fucking else because this is fuck, you know.
Right.
Those were like not suicidal moments, but those were like nut lows. You know, I was waking up and I would literally go on Betfair or any betting site. Well, basically Betfair actually, because you can kind of bet whatever you want. And I would bet like 6 random horses in a race.
Okay.
This is like the level of DJ I was at was like
Shit,
incredible.
that's up there.
And I'm not talking small money either. I was gambling like 20,000 a race just on a race. If the race would go bad, I might go to the fucking online casino. Like
were you getting any information? Did you like have a local
Well, what it
guy?
was,
Were you trying to do some stuff, or were you just literally clicking like bets, like random stuff, or like, oh, this looks good?
Well, in 2016, like things were, the sports was going good, the info was good, and I was just sticking tight, just listening to what the sharps said and betting that. And the whole sports game is very difficult, you see, because you get your accounts closed and people fuck you over for money and stuff. So it's actually, I wouldn't advise it to anyone actually. But then I hit kind of a downswing in the sports, and now I just like forgot about any sharp sports that anyone would give me. And I was just betting my own stupid shit.
Right.
And obviously you're paying 5-10% juice every time you do a bet.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're betting even £1,000 or, well, I was betting 10,000, 20,000, you're losing like 1,000 or 2,000 in equity every single bet. And I was doing this all day, every fucking day. So I kind of lost my mind in that summer of 2017 and just, and I thought I would never fucking come back from that.
Right. What happened in the last few years? Because it seems like you're playing the high stakes. Even like you're playing these games are tough, no question. Online cash games, there's bots, there's this, there's that. Now they're Party Poker's doing stuff to help. I know ACR, these sites, stars, they're getting rid of stuff. They're trying to stay ahead of it. But there's a lot of information out there. People are better as in general. Like, how have you been able to come back and beat and compete on these games live or these online games?
Well, I just said, I knew I was a good poker player the whole time, and
right.
I kind of drifted off for those few years between 2015 2017. I wasn't playing that much. I was just doing the betting and gambling and stuff, and obviously I hit rock bottom, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just kind of try and do this poker thing again, and don't touch anything. I'm not gonna have a bet. I'm not gonna bet on a single horse. If someone messages me and says I got this sharp fucking this or that, I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm just gonna be like clean. Mm-hmm. So I started just grinding poker again. Basically, I went to the local casino, to the Victoria Casino, started playing 1025 Omaha, and
how are those games? What's the scene like over there in that type of game?
They were good. They were all right. But I know what was one turning point for me is my friend. It was my friend Alan, actually, Chinese Alan. He's one of the most likable, friendly guys. He's a great poker player as well. He's super underrated.
Chinese Alan, that's quite a name. I don't know too many Asians Alan, or is that what it translates the Mandarin name?
Yeah, I think I said that's his
good.
English.
It's a funny name, like Vegas.
His name's Zheng Zhang, I think.
Okay, all right. We'll call him Chinese Alan. I like that.
I think I had a few people over for a UFC fight night one time, and there was about like 6 of us in the room. And I've always had a pretty big ego with poker or whatever, and
we all do, I think.
Yeah, and I can't remember. My friend Matthew said to him, "Oh, do you think Luke can beat poker stars?" Because I think someone was saying no one can beat poker stars, blah blah blah, and I've always said I can beat mixed games on poker stars, blah blah blah. And my results in like 2014 for the mixed games on there, they weren't great. Like I lost a lot of money playing heads up versus a guy called Jay Lama and some other people, and I wasn't that good then. My mind wasn't in it right then, and anyway, but I was saying, listen, I'm sick at mixed games. Trust me, I can beat stars. Blah blah blah, and this Alan guy, my friend Alan, my friend Matthew said to him, so you think Luke can beat poker stars or not? And he goes, oh, no, he can't beat poker stars, yeah? And I don't know, it just put something in my belly, and I thought, you know what, I love Alan to bits, so I'm going to fucking prove this guy wrong, yeah?
Right.
And ever since then, I've just been kind of crushing poker stars. So,
do you study? Do you do GTO stuff? Like, Bryn Kinney, I've had him on podcast. Love Bryn, obviously, very big character. He's #1 now all time in the world. Money, he hit the Triton score. He's just like FGTO. He's like Gangster Grill Live. Does it reads like where do you fall? Are you you study?
Yeah,
You
I'm
talk
kind
with
of in that
friends, or you
same
mix?
group of like. There's a few people like that. There's like, well, there's a lot of great, like the best poker players in the world. Like the Brins, the Michael Turitzes, a lot of the mixed game players. They're all really good. I mean, none of them are really studying so hard. Josio's maybe a bit spent now, but
They say that. You never know, which I believe them. I'm not saying Bryn. I'm not ever gonna say not. I'm
no,
just saying.
I know he doesn't. Well, I don't study anyway,
Yeah.
and I know Bryn don't study.
I
And
believe Bryn. I believe him.
listen, I can't beat. Well, I have been actually beating No Limit recently, but I probably can't beat No Limit and PLO on PokerStars. I actually had to self-ban myself for the PLO tables because those guys were just like they know the solver and the GTO shit a bit too good. So I don't play PLO on PokerStars anymore. But for the mixed games, I don't think there's anyone better than myself on Stars at the moment. And I don't think obviously there's people studying some things. I don't really study anything. I might rail a game if like Berry Sweet and Raul or Michael Turitz and Raul are playing heads up at 1,000, 2,000. I might have the game up in the background and look at the biggest pots. I might do that maybe like for 5 minutes.
Right.
Every month. Like that's as much studying as I've ever done, basically.
Interesting.
So really, I don't study at all. So yeah, back to the thing with Alan. So he said I couldn't win. So then after that, I said, all right, Alan, you know what? I'm gonna send you a result every single session, PokerStars. So I've got a little group chat, me, him, and my friend. And after every session on PokerStars for the last 3 years, I send it in, and like even now he's getting bored. He's like, "All right, get the picture, Luke. Yeah, well done." But he's like happy for me to win anyway, so he sees it.
That's all.
But yeah, that was a good turning point, and yeah, I've just been playing. I've been playing pretty good on there, and then I've been playing some live mixed games in London. Obviously, quite big ones recently, but a couple of years ago, it was kind of dead. We used to have like 100, 200 game in the Vic, which I beat, but that kind of died off. And then in Vegas, I did well when obviously I had the Bracelet win, and I did well in cash. And yeah, so it's just it doesn't take when you get on a bit of a heater in poker, you can win a lot of money pretty quickly. So if you have 2 or 3 good years on the tables at high stakes, you're going to be up like a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah,
so,
it's true for sure, and I think that again, like it's sort of like similar to in an in-game situation. If you're on your A game, B game, C game, if you feel it's not going well, you're losing hands. You know the equities. You know when you're supposed to win or not, and if you're like realistic with yourself, if you're playing well or not playing well, you're getting your money in good. If you can withstand when it's not going so well, and not get too down on yourself and not try to press it. And then when you're doing well and kind of kick it up a bit and take some shots, and I think that's one of the art forms of poker, and really comes down to the individual. So it sounds like you have a pretty good understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many things to being a good poker player anyway. I mean, it's just lists of things, obviously, but the mental game is one thing, bankroll management, knowing where your edges, the confidence, etc., etc. But the mental game for me, I've struggled with that over the years, and even now it stings because I play big stakes now, so that, I could get fucked in like, especially when I play this big live game, I could get fucked in a 60k pot or so, and it stings, and it's hard to not tilt, and then you end up opening like the Queen 8 off on the button and limit hold'em the next hand when you probably wouldn't have opened it if you had fucking just won the last pot. So I still have those. Not demons, but I still struggle with that a bit. But I'm definitely a lot better than I am now. Like, I'm not going to go on some rage tilt and just like play super loose or something. I will start talking to myself, and I know it's not good because you just radiate this negative shit when you start moaning about your beats and stuff like that. And especially when you're playing in like a big high stakes games with other very rich, good professionals,
Right.
It doesn't help. It's that big minus EV to be even just sitting there, just showing tilt through your face. So,
Right.
it's like someone like David Oppenheim. He's got a good mental game. He might not be the best player, but he just battles through. That big game in Bobby's room, there is so much personality clashing. There's so many emotions. It's a fucking battlefield and warfield in there, and you can't give nothing away at all.
Right.
So the people with very good mental game in that place do really well. Like someone like Matt Ashton, like he's unreal. He's like a robot at the table. When he goes into a pot, and even like Brian Rast as well, when they're in a pot, there's no laughter, no jokes, nothing. You can't get a reaction out of them. It's two robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of me. Really I like to chat.
Concentrating so fucking hard, yeah. Even if it's not that important to be concentrating in limit pot, because it's a lot of time the hands play themselves, yeah. And you're not having a big, huge river decision for 100 big blinds. It's one bet. But still, they are still just so focused and zoned in, and that's like a great quality of those two players in particular. I mean, Matt Ashton is certainly a very good technical player anyway, but he adds to it with the way he focuses and he just gets zoned in.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, it's true, and it's intimidating, right? It's like like those guys. If you have a reputation like that, it's powerful because that you just know like you're never gonna get something off them. It's a little bit tough.
I mean, you're not even necessarily trying to get a read off them. It's just you're trying to trying to break their flow, but they won't break that flow. Like I'll try and have a laugh with them in the middle of the pot, and it's just no. But then the minute the pot's over, it's laugh and smile, and let's talk about how much Bitcoin's up or whatever. You know, it's very different. So the mental game in poker, especially in live big limit games, is very, very important. And of course, it's important in any game anyway.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. All right. I want to look over here because it's interesting. I see on your Twitter. Full flush one here. First of all, what's this with Friends? Are you a Friends fan? Was this like your show growing up? Just noticed this is on your top thing here.
Who isn't a Friends fan? It's like the best show ever. But I don't know.
It is a great show.
I think I just retweeted something that I found funny or whatever.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I did notice this though. It looks like lovely meeting the ACR poker crew here in London. Feel a dizzy night in the horizon. This might have been the night. Was this the night? Oh no, this was the day we were going to do a podcast the other day.
That was last night.
So what's going on here? ACR, you got? I've seen some stuff. You know Phil Nagy. Are you? What's the deal? Give us the deal here, Luke. Are you?
Well, they came down for some gambling convention in London, and a few months after the World Series, I had a little chat with Phil. Said we could maybe do something. We had a little bit of a handshake, and but now it's basically official. I'm basically a player for ACR now, and yeah, I really like him. I like the things he does. He's very interactive with his people, a bit like Rob Young,
Right.
Both of them, they're doing good stuff. Whereas someone like a site like PokerStars, everyone loves and trusts the software or whatever.
Yeah.
But something goes wrong on the site, they're just like, you can't even message them. You can't even email PokerStars. You might get a reply in like 2 weeks. They're so bad with customer service and shit. They don't care really about their project.
Yeah, it's weird. It's it seems like it's gone that direction. I was with them, and now I've moved to Party Poker, and I don't know. I'm not gonna pile on, but I agree. It's like kind of like feels like just the way it's going. It's sort of shifted, but. Which is a shame.
Shifted. Listen, I love PokerStars. I mean, I
software is great. They do a lot of things really well. I mean, they're the original. Yeah. I mean, they were the best for a long time. But
I mean, they're still the biggest site or whatever.
No question about it.
I still love playing on it, but the customer service, the thing they did with the fucking rake when they cut that off a few years back.
That was tough. That was like a bit tough. Like those are one of the ones. Where
I mean, they did a lot of
nothing you can really say.
Yeah, they did a lot of fucking fucked up shit. And they don't care about us now, but people still use it because they know it's biggest tournaments. It's still some of the highest games in the world. It's still the one. But yeah, they're definitely. I mean, I don't want to say I hope they go to the ground. They've been a big part of my life for 15 years, whatever. But they're not doing things right for the players for sure. Not what Phil and what Rob have done. That they're doing it.
Yeah,
They're doing it.
no,
Right.
it's great. I mean, like I said, I'm with Party. I love what Rob's doing. Phil, I know well. ACR's caught. They've had, they cleaned up a lot of the bot stuff, and there's a lot of chatter and this and that. But Phil, I've known Phil. I met him. I think he's a great guy. I think him and Rob are doing some of the most innovative and active things. And
Absolutely, super active,
big fan of
super.
both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no question. All right, well, that's good. Well, congrats, because I mean, it's hard. Like it is. It's a lot different landscape than it used to be. Getting deals is it's hard, right? Like there's not a lot of sponsorships going on. I think Twitch. Yeah. What about Twitch, man? I feel like I've streamed on Twitch for 4 years. The last year with my son, I streamed less, but it seems like it's growing fast. I truly believe if Twitch didn't exist and YouTube didn't exist, that poker would be in big trouble, just based on the HUDs. Party got rid of HUDs now, but the HUDs, the scrapers, this and that, the bots, it's kind of tough. Like I feel like that's like a thing. People love it. It brings a lot of content. It brings a lot of energy.
Does.
You would be unbelievable on Twitch. Have you thought about that?
The thing is, it's gonna sound kind of big-headed, and that I've thought about doing it. The thing is, I wouldn't want to show my whole cards, especially in mixed games at all. I was thinking, if I jumped around and like played a bit of like No Limit or PLO or some tourney. Do that on Twitch maybe.
It is complicated for cash games, I think, a bit more than tournaments.
Yeah.
Like Tommy Cannoli's on ACR now. He's like had some $90,000 stacks on the rat hole, 300K. He streams now, but he also just kind of shows tournaments. Like an option would be if you have a tournament on the side, or you play like one game you show, but you don't have to show all your games, because I think that's a misconception. You could have like 4 tables going and just show one, and not or pop in on a hand once in a while. You don't have to just like show everything you're doing. I don't know. Be something to consider. You'd be one of those guys on Twitch that would like overnight have like there's only like a few guys like Negron, Helmuth, Jungle Man, guys that can like turn it on and probably be one of like really get a lot of added numbers and things. So I don't know.
I would like to do it a lot, because I think it would be quite funny. I actually have an idea of how I would do it. I would jump from game to game and fucking hit and run different like bum hunters that are waiting for me in different games, Limit Hold'em, PLO, NL, just try and quickly hit and run them and tilt them and make a little joke of it and shit like that.
Right. No,
At the same time,
amazing.
I don't really want to give away like even though those maybe not my best games, I don't want to give away too much. But I might do it anyway. I might do it like for a scoop or a whoop or something like that, or even on ACR maybe I'll do some streaming on that. And maybe
it's just one of those things. I can't tell you how many guys have come to me that are relatively well known in poker. Something like, hey, I want to Twitch. I give them my Kelly Blue Book. I give them the whole everything. Here's the equipment you need. Here's how it works. Here's what I recommend. They do 1 stream or 2. They stop, or they just don't ever start, because it is a lot of work. But it's nice to have the option, even just have a channel like a website, and then if you decide, you know what, I want to flick on and mess about and like kind of do it. So I don't know. I just think you'd be very good for it. It would be something to consider. I do also want to say, on the point about being good for poker, I think now it's kind of, people realize that it's really important. Like some of the crushers or grinders. Like I remember there were some people talking about, oh, how does this guy get a deal on Stars, or this guy get a deal here? But like ultimately, the guys that are giving content and doing stuff, those are the ones gonna bring new people to the game and help. Like I just want to touch on this name, because I know you guys have a little history. But so I was at the World Series in 2017. I started my YouTube I just literally like picked up my camera, was going around. I had done a couple vlogs. A guy comes up to me, goes, "Yo, that's so cool, man! You're doing vlogs." He was like, I was like hoping he was gonna say, "Oh yeah, I love your vlog or your YouTube." But he's like, "Yo, do you know Doug Polk?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know Doug." And he was like, "I'm here because Doug Polk." I saw some of his YouTube videos, and he like hadn't played in 2 years, and he was out at the World Series. And that was like when I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful that like guys are coming back. And again, Doug's very polarizing. You either love him, hate him. He's got his style. He stirs the pot. He likes to chat about, but he's doing it like his view. He gets a ton of views. He does bring people into the game, and people, he's a guy that's gonna move the needle for poker. So I don't know. Like I know Doug and you. I don't even know if your guys' relationship. I know he was like, he kind of pokes at you and does some stuff, and like the pigeon thing or whatever. And then I don't know. Like I don't know if are you guys friendly, or do you not like really dislike each other? Where are you at with Doug? Because I know he's like. He said some shit.
To be honest with you, he's kind of so like irrelevant really at this point. I think he was just he came to the end of his little everyone has their time kind of. He had a few good months. He spun it up. Then he lost like a lot back, and then he realized he couldn't beat it anymore. So he started fucking doing this YouTube channel, whatever it was. And, you know, some like quirky nerds might enjoy his shit, but like anyone with 2 cents realizes like it's all fake and he's a massive douche. And, you know, he just, I mean, like the banners he puts up, and I mean, I've spoken about it before, so it's pigeon me even saying it.
Yeah,
really.
no, I'm not trying to. I know because I knew there was a little. I'm not trying to like cause a back and forth thing. I mean, that's how. Listen, Doug does. That's his deal, right? He says
but I don't think he really
stuff.
brings people to poker, though. I wouldn't agree with that. You know, I think he's kind of done out here anyway.
Well, listen, I'll say this. I don't want to dwell on this. I'm not trying to start a thing. I will say I really do believe. You know, again, his style is very intense. It's very like he has a direction what he does. You know, Negreanu, you guys. He likes to bring them in big names and cause get views and all that. But I disagree on that. I do think he has, for good or bad. Like I think he has, like, just from my experience and what I see. And on the streets, people like examples like that. I do think he has done good overall for poker, but whether you like his style or not and how he goes about it, I'm not saying like that's debatable. But I think he's very polarizing. Like I think people love him, or they're like, this is ridiculous and what are you doing? So I think it's kind of just like a good way to describe it would be very polarizing for that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I hear what you're saying too. I guess I could see that argument as well. But I mean, he's had a lot of success in poker, and if to the fact of if you think he's stepping out because he doesn't think he can beat it or not, I don't know if that's true or not. I would be surprised if Doug isn't still very able to win in the games.
No, he definitely can't win in the games. Like I'd play him no limit heads up right now. I'm fucking shit at that game. Like he can't win in the games. You know. He won. He was good at no limit. He would get completely torched now. Trust me, he would get completely torched.
That scares me and shocks me. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't want to start a challenge here, but
it's true. You know how hard, like, how good the regs are, like online. They're unreal.
I hear you. No, I'm saying I'm with you. Listen, about poker. If you can play,
let me give you an example. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's have Gal fun. Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to segue into that. Let's talk about that.
Look how good he was all those years ago. Then he kind of went stagnant, didn't play much for, say, a few years online.
Yeah.
Now he's jumped back in and playing one of the top 10 PLO players in the world. Yeah. And look how it's going for him. I mean, it's a different game. You got to roll with the times.
I hear you. Phil was actually one of the most recent guests on my podcast. We talked about it. It was right before the challenge started, and he did mention this opponent, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Benedetti.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it was very tough, and he was
like, I had to self-ban on PokerStars because of people like Benedetti. I would sit there on Stars, win my money in mix, and then I'd get no fucking action. I'd be bored, and I'd go play PLO versus Benedetti, Gravis, all these fucking Finnish guys,
right.
And I would just get grinded. And I was like, yo, like, I've got bad gambling tendencies. I need to stop this. So I sent the email to Stars, ban me from PLO on PokerStars.
Right.
And so I know firsthand how tough these guys are at PLO.
Right.
And, Galfon's going to feel it. I mean, he's only like, a third of the way through, and he's down 750,000. I mean,
I think he's whatever. He's down a good bit. I mean, at the rate, it's pretty crazy. I think he did get some back, but the point is, for sure.
He got some back. He lost 250K yesterday.
Oh, maybe then it is back to that.
He's
I don't know. I'm not.
It's very bad, and he could just cut his losses now. To be honest, I mean.
That's the problem with these challenges. There's so much pride and ego. Like at some point, if
he's not going to get. He's got 100 to 200K side bet on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like not 100. He's probably 50 to 1 to turn it around and not be stuck at this point. Yeah. So, and he's a favorite to go on and lose way more. If he's someone who's just in a different league than him at the moment.
But the thing is, he's got a bunch of different bets. I mean, like, listen, Bill Perkins, he was just here in Miami for his birthday. Like,
Bill's, he's going to be a favorite to beat Bill Perkins, and he's probably a favorite to beat Schwartz, and he's probably a favorite to beat Brandon Adams. But he can't beat Action Freak. He definitely can't beat Benedetti. He can't beat any of these top PLO players online right now. It's just how it is. You cannot take 4 years off and think you can just stroll back in and come and beat the best. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's, I mean, again, he's had a child about the same age as mine, so I'm sure, like, not doing quite. I doubt he's just like taking off. I'm sure he's still doing studying, playing some spots, and like I see him around. But I hear what you're saying. No question, it's different. It's also like if you're the seventh best player in the world and you're playing, or like the eighth best player in the world, and you're at a game with like five guys that are better than you. It's not good, right? It just kind of depends where you're playing. You could be a great player. You got to have a.
I mean, Benavides probably top 10 PLO players in the world, and Galfond, he might be top 200. He might be top 400 at this point. You don't know. So
it's
a huge gap between the two of them. He's not top 50. He is not top 50 PLO players in the world. There are 50 players on Stars that are better than him right now, and there's probably another 50. There's probably like the good 2-5 Zoom players are better than him right now. I mean, he's down the list right now. He could get back to a top 50, but he's not going to get back to top 10 anytime soon. He's going to need to do fucking study that solver, play lots of hands. I mean, it was crazy of him just to jump back in at 100, 200. I mean, he must have a lot of money or.
Yeah,
you
know better than me. I have really no idea on like the online cash scene. I actually been playing because at the end of my streams I've been firing some fast forward on Party. I know there's now the other, obviously there's Zoom, there's Blitz, these type of things, which apparently are very tough games, and it's very tight, right? Because it's like you're just folding, waiting for good hands. Mostly, I actually was pretty pleasantly surprised the last few days on some of the PLO like 2-5 running on Party. Have you seen any of those? Do you ever mess around in PLOs?
The fast forward, I haven't played it yet, but I heard the fast forward on Party is a lot softer than that on Poker.
I was like pleasantly surprised on some of the hands and money getting in and spots. I was like, oh wow, this is not like just pedaling.
Well, Party's always been softer than Stars anyway, so that doesn't really surprise me that much. And
do you play on Party though? Because I hear you talking about Stars. You sign with ACR now, or you're doing a deal with them. But what sites do you play on currently?
I only really play on. I play a bit on ACR. Like I play some tournaments and a little bit here and there, but I mainly just play on Stars cash games. I also, I play Sunday tournaments. I'll play a few Sunday tournaments on Party, and if there's a lot of the time, if there's money left over, I'll go play 10, 25 or maybe 25, 50 PLO on Party and whatever. But yeah, I don't really grind that site very much.
Right. Yeah. No. What do you think about the no HUDs? Because do you use a HUD? Have you ever used one?
No, I never used a HUD or anything. No.
So that feels like Party would be your spot then, because at least you're like on a level playing field. You don't have to think about it. It's just like, all right, everyone's not using it. That's cool. Like versus whether.
Well, as the time's going on, I'm getting less and less action in mixed games. So I'm gonna have to start playing a lot more of PLO and No Limit if I want to get action. So I'm gonna have to. I'm going to have to try harder in those games. So it's probably better off me playing them on ACR and Party rather than playing them on Stars because, as I said, the field's tougher there. So, yeah, you might see me. You might see one. I was actually playing a bunch when I was in Nottingham, when I was playing the tournament and that. I was online playing heads up on the Party poker app a bunch, and it did seem a lot softer than the Stars.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased, but I really believe that. I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it was true.
No, I think it's true.
I believe it. What about do you do meditation? What's like? Do you like to go to the gym before you play? You look like you're in good shape. When I saw you taking care of yourself, it's always not easy in poker. You can find yourself. It's another thing with the balance, right? It's like you want to play, you want to travel, you got your kids, it's just only so much time. Do you get in the gym daily, or do you have a routine?
I try and go to the gym every day. I do the school run, and then I go to the gym, and I've got a good few hours, and then I try and play at night, kind of thing. So yeah, I do try and go to the gym. Meditation, I've never done it. I did hot yoga a few times, and I like that. But I think meditation's good from what I saw. So I play quite a lot with Jungle Man. He comes and plays in the game in London, and he's such a sweetheart, Jungle Man.
I love Jungle. He's one of my favorite people, man.
Over the years, he can get frustrated very easily. To put it mildly.
Right.
So anyway, I think we first started playing again in London just after the World Series, and Jungle was kind of the same, like how I've always known him, where one little thing could set him off big time, and we'd go bang like that, and the table would get smashed, and that would be so standard. But
Yeah.
anyway, he went away for like 2 months. I think he went and did a thing in India or something, a meditation course, and now he meditates all the time. And now he's a different man completely.
Right.
He's so calming and nice. And when things are going bad, you might normally see him flip out. He's totally different. And people are trying to troll him as well. Like Siva or Keith, they'll be prodding at him.
Right.
They know they can get a reaction out of him, and he just stays strong now, man. He doesn't let them. Like, yeah, sometimes he might block, but he's a changed man, and that is basically all down to his meditation. He meditates like, I think, half an hour or maybe an hour a day, I think, or something like that.
Right. No, he does. He's great. I mean, I've become pretty close with him, and I mean, he's just a great guy, and that's exactly right. I think it's almost unfair though. Jungle at like even keel. That's like part like his handicap. He's so good to have him kind of blow up or have that. If he's like meditate Zen, like that's scary, Jungle on like because that's part of like maybe why he's even gotten in some games and spots like where he's so good, but people are like, you know what, you never know. Jungle could blow up, and you just don't know what's gonna happen. So, but yeah, good for him. And interesting. What about not to you don't have to answer, but you have 2 kids. Are you married? Or do you have in a relationship? Are you open, available for the public? Let's just get that out there for everyone.
I'm not married. No. We'll just leave it at that for now.
Okay.
I'm not the marrying type.
All right, fair enough. Okay, and we have I feel like this to say this every time. It's almost just genuine, but it's true. I think this is the record for questions on here. I got to look, but I think there's over 100 something, which is pretty ridiculous engagement for this. So we will spend some time and go through some of those. Is there anything else before we do dive into the questions you want to talk about? Any upcoming things? Any places you love? Tell me, like, travel-wise, what like a year looks like. Do you hit stops? Do you follow some games around? You hit Vegas in the summers usually. What's like your favorite places to go, poker or non-poker?
I'm usually in London for most of the year. I don't really travel for poker anymore. As I say, I'm more of a cash player than a tourney player. Of course, I go to Vegas in the summer, most summers, and then I might go on like one other holiday a year, just to France to get a bit of nice weather or something like that. But I don't really like traveling that much. I've never been to Asia. I haven't been to South America. Yeah, I don't travel that much, and it's hard to travel with 2 kids, and they're in school and everything else. So
It does. It's funny, like looking back with. I just remember, like living and roommates and stuff with friends and playing cards, and you're just like your boys, and you're like, oh, like when this happens or at this point, we're just gonna travel the world, play cards, go all the stops. And then it's like, oh, my buddy's got a kid now, he's got 2 now, he's got 3. My other friends, all kids are married. You're doing this shit, and then it's like you're fighting to even get to like bachelor parties, like it's like a task. And then you have your own kids, and then you're just like you get it, and it's like, yeah, how am I taking 2 kids to my boy's house to hang out? It's like, are you trying to maybe see them like or catch a phone call here and there, man? Life gets crazy, right? More responsibilities.
And it also traveling, like, it kind of messes up your routine. Obviously, it's nice being in a nice country and that, but the whole when you're flying and then you're on a different time zone and then you're not going to the gym and I quite like the structure I've got in London as it is.
Yeah, it's nice, man. It is. It's nice. Balance is nice. It's nice. And it's kind of cool. You don't have to travel, right? As well. It's like kind of nice to have your routine. You're working out. You're eating better. All that stuff's good.
Yeah.
Like, traveling's
Listen,
fun,
if I couldn't be online and there was no game in London and I had to travel to make money from cards, I probably would. But as it is, I don't have to. So I basically don't. And Vegas is more of a. I don't even have to go to Vegas in the summer. It's more of a luxury. It's more. Let's see if I can win huge. This is fun. Go deep into tourneys, play some mega big cash games. It's kind of like that's more of a holiday.
Right. And where do you stay in Vegas? So you get a house, or you do like hotels? You mix it up. What's your?
I usually just stay in Bellagio. I'm just downstairs for the cash games.
And what's your? Give us like biggest win, biggest loss online or live. Like what's some of your big have you your. Do you know off the top of your head? I mean, you probably had some 7-figure, big 6-figure.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, I guess when I was playing those huge like heads up no limit sessions, back on Full Tilt and Betfair and iPoker back in like 2009. I remember one day in the Bahamas, we were just playing online, and I think we won 800 or 900,000, and the very next day lost it all back. So like there was many days where over 500,000 was won or lost, and there was a couple of days where it was nearly 1 million. I might not have had all the action, but I had probably 50% at least at them times. So those are pretty wild. These days, the biggest swing I might have nowadays would be, I guess, if I play a big live game, I might win 250 on a very good night. I might lose 150 or so on a very bad. I might lose 200 on a bad night as well.
Right. Yeah, it's still. I mean, yeah. So it gets.
That's a big like live games where the big bets like 2,000, 4,000. So.
What do you think of this high roller scene with like the swaps and the selling? You know, guys are playing 100Ks and $1 million. Well, million was a special event. Obviously, people are selling other than the.
I think the Triton tourney was kind of sick. But I think the high roller scene, it doesn't have that much of a buzz to it, to be honest. I think it's kind of been done. It's been there for 4 or 5 years. It's kind of the same folk. I don't think, not that they're boring people or anything, but they're not the most entertaining people.
Right.
Like
the Premier League was great. That was always fun.
I tell you, high stakes poker was like a sick one, and I read recently they're going to be bringing that back.
Right. Would you have interest in doing another Premier League? Maybe even if they kicked it up to like 200, 250, or even at the same 125.
Yeah, for sure. I would. I mean, TV poker kind of died, didn't it?
Yeah, so I think that was just that was because of the dollars, right? The sites aren't advertising in America for the site, like that kind of deal. But it's coming back a little bit in America. Some states are coming. It's got a little bit of a resurgence, a bit.
Yeah, and you know what? I think if the high stakes poker show comes back, that will pave the way for a lot of other shows and maybe some Premier Leagues or something like that. But yeah, the high roller scene. I mean, if that's the only thing to rail, you know, it's not that fun. The super high roller bowl is kind of cool. It's kind of cool when you can see how people are playing and stuff like that. But like, you know, following like the scene in Aussie or whatever, the 100Ks is the same. Timothy Adams and Chidwicks and that is. I don't think that's that interesting.
Right.
But I mean,
those guys might almost be laughing. Like, how is this still happening? Like, the same guys are crushing and like getting these guys to put in. But at the same time, you know, the Big Blind Ante is a huge change in terms of speed, like the shot clock, those type of things. I think, you know, finding ways too where guys talk or something's missing too, like that live.
And do you know what it is though as well? I mean, it's not just those live. So say 10 years ago, you had high stakes poker, you had all these sick TV shows, you had all these characters in this bubbles and everything. And I think Jason Kuhn explained it well when he said like how the game's adapted and people are playing very different. So even 10 years ago, you'd have huge action on Full Tilt, 500, 1,000, everyone playing heads up, and it would be sick to rail even if you weren't playing, right?
Yeah.
Now, say something to rail is like the Galfond Challenge, yeah? That's that ain't the same PLO game that was played 10 years ago. That is a nitty fucking nit fest, basically, where one guy is grinding another guy a little bit, and he's just playing perfectly. There's not really that many big pot. The average pot size, I would guess, the average pot size in that game is significantly less than what it was 10 years ago in a heads-up PLO battle. And it's just a different game all around now. It's no one's fault. But yeah, if they could bring back high stakes poker, have Negreanu, have Hansen, have some of the big, have Ivy. You know, I'd be happy to come on that. Have Bryn, have some fun names. You know, it would be. I think that'd be very good for poker. And they said it's back, so let's see what they can come up with. And try and do good things.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the numbers are pretty astounding on Triton. Like, they're 100K high roller, and they are getting guys, you know, diverse group of guys that are flicking it. I mean, listen, I watched some of the play, though. There's some pretty unbelievable players as well. It's not like they're just giving it away. There are also some guys that are flicking 5, 6, 8 rebuys in, you know, having fun. So it's an interesting. That's the first high stakes tour circuit that I've seen that's it's not getting like that 20, 30, 40 number, which is even like 40 for 100K is high. Like they're getting 100 plus, and they're doing some innovative stuff. Plus the production value.
Yeah, and it's run well, and like it's a nice scene. I do like the Triton, definitely.
Yeah.
And then they do like the short deck cash games and that, which that's cool as well. Somehow Tony G's come back on the scene, which is kind of funny that he can come and play super high stakes and like and do okay again, which is kind of nice to see. So yeah, and Leon as well. He's a face, and there's definitely a few faces.
There are some. There is still a handful of. There's a personality group there. I think it's just got to find the way. It's missing. There's innovations. You think like looking back how check raising was illegal, or seeing no big blind ante, these type of things that now are happening. The shot clock, like they're so obvious. Yeah. But it's like they didn't have for decades, and now they have it. Like thinking, what else could we come up with? What else is there to kind of push it a little bit, a little more fun, a little more fast, a little more, to make it better. But yeah, for sure. Well, let's dive into some questions because we do have we got a record. So we're gonna let's go over here and we'll kind of scroll through. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we go and knock these down? We got a lot.
Yeah, that's a good fire away.
All right, let's get in here. I have not read through these yet, so let's just go through the top. This right here, Luke. Any solve for why questions that's really bugging you? What happened with this thing? Because this shit, I was laughing. Like, actually, a friend of mine messaged me, and I didn't even follow you on Twitter. I just added you recently, and I was like really quality, like banner. You're giving a lot of shit and really just addressing things and doing the solve for why. What's the solve for why? Where did this come from? Why did you go with this solve for why theme?
I saw this like bizarre little thing that group of people were doing where they put their headphones on, play a cash game. It's called Solve for Why. Their company.
Yeah, I know Berkey's thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought that's kind of funny. And then I saw a few things that were like, well, it's a training site, and I'm kind of seeing a lot of donkeying going on and flawed logic and whatever else. I thought, I might have to give these lot a little troll on Twitter, and then. Okay. So that's why it came about. Solve for why this is wrong and that's wrong.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you really went for it. There was a dozen, maybe more. I mean, it was like a day or two period where everything was.
Everyone was like, "Yo, how drunk were you last night?" Yeah, actually, I wasn't drunk. I don't even really drink, but I was just bored, and sometimes just something comes over me, and I just start firing some trolls away, and it's nothing really malicious. A lot of people there's some people. Twitter's funny because you see some people just like get super offended by it and will just like proper hate on what I'm saying, but there's other people that are like, oh, that shit's well funny and whatever.
Yeah, no, it's good. Let's see, how many times have you called someone a pigeon? This is like kind of the word. Like this came from I think the Polk saga, right? Like there he did some video or something, but like the pigeon word is like one of the most used terms in poker, and it's just kind of funny because it's like kind of funny but kind of like I've got a little shot with it. What's the deal with this pigeon stuff, man? Can you explain?
I think it was just like a cool word that kind of just caught on, and you can just say it for various things. You could say anything's pigeon, really.
Yeah, I heard Rob Young saying it. It makes me laugh about like he says it like describes some people or say something, but like it's just kind of a funny. It's a funny term. Are you the one who coined it, or it was from that thing with like what you say it a fair amount or?
No, I mean I don't know if I started saying it years and years and years ago, and I think it kind of just caught on from that.
Yeah, I like it. I like the word. There's some foreign language I don't speak. I should. My wife's Brazilian, but I don't have it. Someone asking, do you think this is random? I don't know. Do you think Jamie Staples is arrogant? Do you know Jamie? Do you have any opinion of Jamie, or have you ever met him?
I know he's a Twitcher, right?
Yeah, he actually runs the online for Twitch with me, co-manager.
Yeah, I can't really speak on that. I never really watched or know very much.
Okay. I didn't know if there's if something ever was said. I don't know why this guy's someone's singling him out. Like if you had said something about him.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because Jamie, he's a great guy, and think he does about the most for poker there is. But how nervous were you? Heads up. So you got heads up for a bracelet. Were you this summer? We didn't even cover that. That's it. So you got a lot going on. We didn't even tag that. Let's take a quick look and talk about that. But were you nervous at all? Just because you realize how hard definitely. It is to win, right? So to be there.
Well, basically we were three-handed. Me, George Wolf, and Johannes Becker for literally could have been more than 7-8 hours.
Okay.
Like, and that's incredible because we each only had sort of 10 or 20 bets, maybe 20 bets. So to be three-handed for that long and no one busting was like the toughest mental game. All three of us, like, hats off to
You all
us.
want it, right? I mean, that's one of those ones you just get to put in the when
I mean,
it's all
that's
said
like
and
kind
done.
of like being three-handed in a no-limit tournament and everyone's got 25 blinds or 20
Right.
blinds even for 7 hours. It's the same shit,
Right.
when anyone could be all in every hand or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like
That's what we were.
you get ace jack, a guy gets nines, like
Yeah.
it's in there. You
Yeah,
gotta win.
so that was so when I did get to heads up and I had a big chip lead, that was it was relieving, and I just wanted to get past the post basically. But the heads up match started terribly for me, and after the first break, we were leveling chips, and now I was like sweating because you heads up for a bracelet. You don't know
Yeah.
if you can be heads up for a
Bro,
bracelet
heads
ever
up.
again.
I remember being on the rail when Rast at the 50K was like 20 something to 1 to Helmuth underdog, came back. I had a 12 to 1 chip lead online yesterday and lost and had it all in river card to win. It's like you just know we've all been there so many times and it's never ever over, and there's nothing worse than having a big lead and losing. It's like it could actually like mess you up long term or mentally. There's certain things that could, like, even how strong you are, how well you take it, that just could like touch you. They're just like really.
The only good thing was it was against my friend. Like, I'm very good friends with George Wolf, so had he had beaten me, it wouldn't have been. It would have sucked, but I'd have been happy for him as well. So there was a little bit like if I was heads up v Johannes, that would have been tougher because not because he's the play, just for the fact that I'm like really good friends with him. So if he had beaten me, it's cool. But like Johannes would have been my enemy, and I would have wanted to beat him so bad,
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, I wanted it bad, but if I didn't get it, it was okay to lose to him, type thing in a way.
Right. Well,
So there was a little bit of pressure off from that, I guess.
Yep. Well, congrats. That was your first one, right?
Yeah, that was
Nice. Fresh off the summer. I have a second. I don't have a bracelet. It's hard, right? You just don't know. You might never get one, but so good for you. Congrats to
Thank you.
chalk it off. Who do you think is the best poker player today? I mean, these questions are kind of always tough, but like when you think of best player, you're in the mixed game scene. It's hard to really know. But like, who comes to mind when you think of some of the top guys?
There's different. Obviously, there's 3-4 types of poker. I mean, there's tournament poker. Who's the best tournament player? Well,
Right.
probably. I mean, Bryn's definitely up there. Chidwick's definitely up there. Probably those two, maybe. Well, there's a bunch of good tournament players.
Yeah, you can name
I
them.
don't play them that much, so I'm probably not the best person to say who the best tournament players are.
Right.
And now cash game players, there's a bunch of no limit online cash players, Linus and people like that. But then there's mixed game players. So there's a lot of different players. The players I respect, personally, a lot are the ones that never really studied and kind of just done it all themselves.
Yeah.
The people like, there's a guy I used to battle with on Cryptologic called Gilkins, Robert Flink, and he's like one of the best heads up no limit players in the world. And I don't think he ever studied anything. And he's
I saw him. I met him actually at Triton and flew over to the Kings with him.
Yeah. His name's Badge Schwartz on PokerStars, and it's nice to see that because me and him used to battle at 50, 100, and 100, 200 10 years ago. It's nice to see him still at the top of the game doing his thing, and I doubt he studied much at all. I said a few names before, like I don't know, Michael Turitz.
Right.
Yeah, he's a good player. There's the top mixed game players for me are really good players. I think John Manetti's a very good player. His head's probably not right now, but I think he's a very good player. Ivy's a very good player still. He's across the board. He's good in all mixed games, and he's still a good cash player as well. Who else?
That's a good bet. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things. It's very hard to say, right?
Yeah,
There's a bunch of guys.
Even Negreanu, like Negreanu's a good player, man. He's won a lot of money. He's won like so many tournaments and.
Yeah, you hear like Negreanu or the Helmuth guys. I mean, that are saying or whatever. But like end of the day, like they've
I don't think
the
Helmuth's
game.
that good a player. I mean, I think he's. I don't think he's that good a player, to be honest. I think him and Negreanu are in two different leagues, but.
Yeah, just saying like it's a results oriented game, and they've shown. I mean, I hear it's just like those are the kind of tricky things to like really determine. And yeah, of course, if you're putting against these guys, these like new age solver, study grinder
That's
crushers,
what I'm saying.
it's like hard
There's
for them
two
to.
types of players, and there's the top solving players, and then there's the players with that heart and that fight and that intuition, that poker, that thing they've got inside. And there's a few of them, and those are the ones that I respect the most, anyway.
For sure. Let's see at.
True Teller, probably one of the best. And True Teller, definitely. He's so good in all heads up forms of poker. He's a good mixed game player as well. He's a good tournament player. He's very, very smart.
Yep. Yeah. No,
Scott Seaver's a smart player as well. He's got tilt issues, kind of. That's the thing. Like his A game's very good, but he's not at his A game the whole time. And that's the same with someone like Gus Hansen. Gus Hansen's A game's very good, but he's not at his A game either a lot of the time. Whereas someone like Rast, who's probably always playing his A game, or the other fella, the English guy, I forget, Matt Ashton, he's always at his A game. They're probably not playing unless they're playing their A game.
Right.
So that makes them like really good players, Yeah.
I like it. That's a good breakdown. What do you enjoy more, online poker or someone says face poker or live? Do you like online or live more if you had to choose? Say you got to play one next 2 years. You can only do one.
Online's a lot more convenient, isn't it? But I do love playing live mixed games just for the fact you can peel cards. The players you're playing against are all like, they're some of the smartest, best poker players in the world. So you can interact with very clever people and see what they're doing and have good, decent banter with them, where online is pretty solitary. And, I'm playing against robots, or not robots, but people with... Yeah, so, I mean, for convenience online, but live poker, I mean, if I could play like a live big mixed game every day, I'd be choosing that, certainly.
Right. Biggest difference between online and live? What's like the one thing you think is the actual like most important difference?
Well, online's way more of a technical game, so if you don't have your fundamentals online, you're kind of drawing quite dead. Whereas live, you can live off your table presence, your name. There's someone like Helmuth, like I was saying, people play kind of a bit differently versus him than they would be another pro, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things you can do live to like up your EV, or that you might have live that favors you, whereas online that wouldn't at all. Like a great live player will get torched online. Most great live players will get torched online. So like it's hard to be both, really.
Right. Yep, I agree with that too. What age is recommended for becoming a professional poker player, and why? What do you think is the earliest someone could like legitimately say, all right, I'm going to do this? Or nowadays, because it's changed. Like we all kind of just came.
Nowadays, I wouldn't suggest it to anyone because, to be honest, it's a very tough climate. What a few percent of poker players actually win. I mean, it's a very, very tough world to I mean, listen, when you're one of the best players, the rewards is high, but for most people, it's a bad choice of career. I would say you're gonna go into your 20s. You're gonna maybe have a couple spin ups, and then you're gonna go broke, and it's not gonna work. It's probably not gonna work out well for you. And it's gonna numb your feelings as well. Poker does that. It can have an effect on your the way you could hear some bad news or something, and because you become so accustomed to like a bad beat in poker, that will affect you less. It will desensitize you, and that's probably a bad thing. But I think it can kind of rip the soul out of you a little bit, poker.
Right.
So I wouldn't really suggest it to.
It's tricky, right? Because I mean, listen, you're an ambassador, represented by ACR now, online site. I'm an ambassador of Party Poker. I love poker. I think it's the greatest game in the world. With that being said, same thing. Like, I'm not out here trying to push 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 21-year-old kids, people into like quitting whatever they're doing or doing this. Now, at the same time, I think it's like golf. You can learn a lot about someone playing poker. You learn a lot of life skills from poker. And if you have good discipline and you know, it can be, on my Twitch show, I love to say it's not a hobby for me, but it could be a good hobby and you could work at it like a language. You can learn it. You can get better at it. You can use it.
Listen, I mean, I'm not saying I don't want people to go into poker.
Right.
I'm just saying the truth is it's very, very, very difficult. Now, if you want to be a professional poker player, you have to tick so many damn boxes. I can't even explain to you. You have to be smart. You have to be mentally tough. You have to be willing to put super hours in. You have to probably sacrifice a lot of relationships.
Yeah, bankroll management, all this stuff.
I mean, it's just so many things. So, you know, if you can do all those things, great. Go ahead and you could be a rich person. You'll be good.
Right.
But the realistic thing is, it's very hard to chase that dream.
Right. I think one of the best ways you could describe it's a hard way to make it easy living. You know, it's like it's just definitely. Like, and also it's changed. So for sure, I think that's the best thing you could do is learn it slowly, study some, get to know it, play small stakes, enjoy it, and then if you feel like you're really got a knack for it, you could kick it up a bit, but don't risk your nest egg or your.
You can do it on the slide as well, because in poker as well, it's so hard to win in cash. Most people don't win in cash. So to go tell someone go be a professional cash game player, it's so difficult. But the beauty of a tournament is you could bink a tournament, and all of a sudden you've got a couple of 100,000, maybe $1 million, and you're set for life. Yeah. So you know. Tournaments is a great thing for poker.
That's true too. You take a couple shots, sell some pieces, and you don't risk too much. And once in a while, it's like a lottery, like a fun lottery that you actually get to control to some degree. It's a good way to look at it. Can you describe the reality of being a poker professional player that you think other people not would be aware of? What's like something that maybe like if from the facade, or someone sees these guys that are active and know the big names in poker and it looks like whatever. Give us a little bit of like a reality of how you could describe it for maybe a behind the scenes look at it, at your experience over here. How long have you been playing? 15, 17 years?
15 years. I would say that a gross misconception is of how much money different people have. So, I even saw something, I think it was on a Twitch or the Galfond challenge. Someone's like, yeah, Galfond's got 20 million, but this is still hard to watch. I mean, Galfond's got 20 million, really? Like, I think people overestimate how rich certain poker players are.
Right.
And it really isn't what it seems, basically, for the most part.
Right. Yeah, I think that's fair. What's your favorite thing to do before playing a game of cards? Like when you got your day, you're playing an afternoon game. What's something you're like going to do beforehand? Is there anything you like to do to relax, or just like a hobby that you like to do in general?
I always feel like if I've been to the gym, played with the kids, just had a nice, like soulful, progressive day, I'm going to play better online or better live in the nighttime, or I've had some nice food or something like that. So I think it's, for me anyway, it's important to do all that stuff before I play. I think it's probably true for a lot of people. I mean, there was a time when I'd just wake up, just turn the computer on and play it. Sometimes I even still do that now, but
right.
It does. I don't think it reaps the good results like as if you do everything in a structured routine before in the day.
Actually, I'm with you on that. It's weird too. Like the working out deal is so powerful because like at least that's good. Like you're gonna feel good, endorphins, this and that. But like if you lose in a session, you don't work out. You're just like, wow, this was like so crazy. If you like work out, now it's kind of like, all right, like if I lose a little bit, at least like you're like being.
You had that like release of endorphins. You feeling good, So I think that's definitely. I mean, exercise and getting fresh air and that. It's definitely very, very important.
It's huge. I remember Black Friday when it happened. I thought it was the end of the world, but like I played soccer my whole life through college. I was living with my buddy and basically would play online poker all day, have Chinese food if I busted early, play beer pong, wake up at noon, and it was sick because like there were good tournaments. Back in the pre 2011, there was stuff going on all the time. Like you wake up at 10, 11 a.m. It's like, oh, there's a 50K, there's an 80K guarantee. Like you just like go right into it instead of like back then, like, oh, I'll go to the gym, I'll wait, because there's always stuff going on. You can late reg, but it was just like so many times I would just repeat. Eat shitty, play, drink beer late, stay up till 2, 3, 4 a.m., wake up at noon, go again, and it was just like not really healthy.
Yeah, it's a toxic thing to do. I mean, I might wake up and have a little session now, but it's very, very. I don't even play very long sessions now anyway, so it's very unlikely that I'll wake up, jump online, and do nothing for the rest of the day. But when I was in my 20s, that's literally all I did. I might just be wearing the same fucking clothes, just literally just hood up in the zone and order a pizza, whatever, but those days are definitely behind me.
Right. Yeah, no, it's for sure. It's I think we've all learned. I do feel in general poker, at least at the top, like you talk about whatever in a spot, but like the guys that are playing at a high level that are doing well, fundamentally they all look pretty healthy and more like in tune to why that's important. That it's like to compete at the biggest level, you need those little things can make a big difference, and you don't see too many guys just letting it go.
Small edges, so
yeah.
In a game of small edges, you need to do everything that works for you to push your edge as hard as you can,
For sure. You don't have to answer this. This is a question here, but because again, pigeon is such a funny word, and it's like I don't even really know. Yeah, well, it's sort of ambiguous. But someone says name your top 5 pigeons, whatever that means to you. What comes to mind if you think of pigeons, or is that you don't have to answer it? But I don't even know like what that would mean. I don't know. That's just kind of funny to think. Like I just love that word. I really do.
I think it can mean so many different things. When I might even say someone who's like winning 20K on a session and then gets a massage or something and, doesn't tip, something like that. I'd be like, This guy's so pigeon, bro. Like, fucking sitting there getting a lot and you won't even tip. Or like he'll get coffee from the waiter and he'll ask for the change off the £10 note or £5 note or some shit, something like that. But might make me think, oh, that guy's a bit of a pigeon.
Yeah, or like if someone wins 125K in a private game, 125,100, and then they don't tip the 100. That kind of stuff's like kind of wild,
you can't really. I mean, that's the thing in practice. Like I don't have that. If I won 125,100, I'd be tipping 2,100 probably.
Right. And it all depends on what kind of game are they taking a thing. But just like in general, like that concept of like, and even like just not to give like that level of like stickiness is just that's tough, right? Yeah, you could.
I don't like seeing that, but
no one likes it.
Some people as well that they like kind of know the value of money and. They treat poker as like a real job and like that money is important to them and that adds up at the end of the year and everything. But I just can't really live like that and
can't respect. It's tough to wake up and respect yourself like that.
Yeah.
Do you play any sports?
I play tennis with my son a few times a week. He's a very good little player. So that's I go gym.
What about football? Do you follow? Do you have a team? Are you in?
Yeah, I support Tottenham, but I kind of fell out of love with football. I still play five-a-side maybe once a month or something like that.
Have you? Why don't you didn't play during the World Series? You got to come to the World Cup. Man.
I know.
They
I
need
was
you.
UK needs you. And he told me like it was sick and there's big side action you can get. And I'm a sick goalie as it goes. I'm only saying goalie because you're American, so you.
What do you call it? Keeper?
You say keeper. I'm a sick keeper.
I played my whole life. I understand. It's always weird for me. I'm like, oh, football, soccer. It's like I feel fraud to say soccer, but if I say football in America, it's like, what am I gonna do? But
I was meant to actually play on that team at the five-a-side, the country's cup or whatever,
Yeah.
But I think I was playing late and I just flopped. But I do want to play
You
this
should go
year.
next year. It's a blast. Our team actually we won it this year again for second time, but it's fun, man. I love it. I'll send you a video on YouTube. I have some like clips from it. You get to see it. It's actually pretty high level. It's fun. It's fun. You know, it's surprising how many guys can play like competently in poker.
Yeah.
I'm surprised like across the board. You expect a couple like Europeans, but like whatever. Just everyone's pretty good. Will you go to the Millions Vegas? Asks Teddy Shimazby.
I didn't even know about the Millions Vegas.
They had it last summer. Doing it again this year. I think it's a 10K.
That's after the World Series, right?
It's during. It's like they package a
during.
10K. It's like a 5 mil, I believe, but I don't know. You play in cash games most of the time, other than maybe the main. And
I mean,
like the
that's the only annoying thing about Vegas is like it's such a handful of shit to do when you're there.
Right.
Well, not just with poker, with everything, but in poker, especially for me, I know that if I went and played, like I don't go there for 6 weeks anyway because it's too difficult for me to go there. But like, say I go 3 weeks, and I played 3 weeks of tournaments, I know I've got a huge chance to like do well in tournaments because the players that play, especially in like the mixed game tournaments or even in the no limit, there's so much dead money there, right?
Right.
But those tournaments, a lot of the time, they're 1500s or they're 5Ks.
Right. It's sort of
I
tough
want
to
to win
like.
a bracelet. I want to play the tournament. I want to go deep. There's nothing like that feeling of going deep in a tournament or winning the tournament.
Right.
So, but then I've got the little bird in my ear saying, "Oh, there's that big cash action where you could get first place in the tournament if you have a good session." So it's like it's very hard for me to choose what I want to do when I'm in Vegas. So most of the time I play cash and then I play a few tournaments. But maybe one year I'll book some like big bracelet bets and just go and try.
It is hard, right? Like you're giving away. It happens to me too
you
because I'm the exact same. Like,
you're probably giving away like edge if you're gonna go play tournaments and not play the cash. But then a lot of the time, the edge in your tournament is going to be bigger than in the cash game because there's so bad players. But then the tournament's only a 2K tournament, and so it's hard.
I'm in like an example. I work with Elliot Rowe on some mindset stuff. I don't know if you do. Do you have anyone you work with specifically or coaching? It's pretty. I like it. I started doing it like about a year and a half ago. But I just remember like an example of that. Not as like a kind of sounds like a brag, but this summer because now I had a baby right in April of last year. So I was like, I didn't go to the summer for the whole time. I went for like 5 days and 3 days the whole summer. Okay. So I get in there. I want to play some tournaments. I went to this course, and then I was like talking to Elliot, and I was like, all right, there's a 300-600 game at Encore. It's a private game. It's going to be a good game. But I was like, there's a 1500 thing, and Elliot looked at me. He's like, are you crazy? Like, what's your EV in this? Like in a cash game in this game, what could you do? And then what's your EV in this? I was like, you're right. And I swear to you, the first hand dealt when I got there.
You played the cash game, yeah?
Yeah, at the cash game. I was like, I played the cash game. The first hand of the summer, the first hand dealt. I got ace king. This guy had king queen. Weird hand. Played a little funny. And I won 50K my first hand of the summer in cash. And I was just like, and in my head, I'm like, wow, I was really gonna go play like a 1500 for like 3 days, probably bubble, min cash, not whatever, and that was actually like, but it was hard for me because I love tournaments so much, like I really do, and like I don't have a bracelet. I think if I like you at least got your bracelet now, like I have seconds, final tables, haven't won it. Like I do want to win a bracelet, and that's part of my. I just want to do it.
What I do mostly is I play cash. And then if I have a bad few days in cash, then I'll go and take a break and play a tournament.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
I think that's probably the best way to do it anyway.
Someone asked, how old were you when you started playing poker and you got your first big cash? Kind of a multi-question. You answered this earlier, but what would you say you actually started playing?
Yeah, I was 20 years old basically when I got my first big cash for 10,000.
Yeah, it's okay. And your favorite casino?
Well, I mean, the Vegas casinos are the sickest, obviously. But the favorite in London is probably the Vic, just because it's my home casino, and I don't really go there that much anymore. But it's been good to me over the years.
Do people stop you like at the casinos there, or other places? Like, do you get recognized, sort of, or in your hometown? Like, do people like say, "Oh, what's up, man?" Or do people randomly come up to you and say, "Hey, like I've seen you on this poker show or whatever"? Like, do you get stopped?
It still does happen. It did used to happen a lot more because of the TV poker was
Right.
so much more lively back then, and I was on a lot of shows. But yeah, it still
Yeah.
does happen.
I mean, especially in poker environments, right? Like I would
Yeah,
imagine casinos and stuff.
absolutely.
It's not like you're out at embassy and people are probably stopping you as much. But is that still a club? What are the hot clubs in the UK right now? I used to go out in like '06 there a bunch. Like there was China White, Embassy.
China White was sick.
Yeah, that was
I like
man,
China. It's
bro.
funny. I actually went to a couple of clubs the last couple of weeks for some birthdays and that.
Yeah.
The two clubs I went to, the Box
Oh yeah, I went there as
and the
well.
Club. Now the Box is like it's
That's a little
funky.
out there. That's you got to be
Yeah,
ready for that.
I mean, people said, "Oh, you're gonna like the Box," and I went there. And yeah, I did like it, but it was fucking weird. Like,
Right.
and I don't know why that's like people think it's such a cool thing, but I mean, it's different than a normal club.
That's not your first date. You don't take a skinny there.
Yeah,
You gotta
I
feel
mean,
that.
back in the day, it'd be in a loud club, and it'd be about champagne, it'd be about dancing and whatever else. Now it's about watching the weird dwarf or midget or transvestite
Yeah.
being a stripper pole or doing some
Bro.
super weird shit.
Yo, UK is different, man. I remember. So I played soccer at South Carolina in college, and one of my best friends was from the West Ham youth team, and he didn't make it to the next level. And he was like a star at our school. I didn't play in college. Like I basically barely played, but my friend was really good. We hit it off. He was this British guy, Io, but his best friend was Anton Ferdinand at the time.
Oh, really? Okay.
So Rio's brother.
Rio's brother,
But like
yeah.
West Ham was sick back then. They had all Nigel Rio-Coker. They were like 20, 21-year-old guys. Like their team was dope. So we would go over to London. I would fly with him over there, and it was like these guys were dropping 40, 50,000 pounds a night at the nightclub. It was like my first. I was just like blown away. It's 2-1 the pound, $1. I'm just like, what's going on here? I'm trying to like catch my Spirit Air overseas in the back, trying to get there and like hang on. And these guys are flying. They got Bentleys. I was staying at Anton's house with my buddy, and I mean it was crazy. One of the first nights we were out, first trips. I'm in there at one of these clubs, I forget, and I just see a guy bottle a guy over the head. I was like, what the fuck is that? He's like, yeah, that's a regular Friday. Like guys are bottling people in the UK back then. I mean, it's crazy. I've never seen that. Never.
I don't think it's like that so much anymore. I think it's gone into
blew my mind though.
now. But UK is like famous for a lot of
like
pub fights.
guys headbutting and shit. Like it's savage.
It can be grimy, yeah. But the club scene's not so much like that. But it is still aggressive. London's an aggressive city.
Yeah, but it's fast paced. It's fun. All right, let's say, what do you think of the future of poker? Is poker 10 years, 5 years, 20 years? I have my thoughts on it, but where do you think what's happening with poker? Do you feel like do you think these sites are going to be around in 20 years, or do you think
I ask myself that, and I say to myself, am I going to be sitting there playing on Poker Stars in 10 years, just grinding, doing the same thing at 45? Right. And it's like, I don't think the sites necessarily going. I think the big main sites, unless something really weird happens, they'll probably still be there. They might be less traffic, but I think they'll still be there. Then maybe American laws change everything, and there's another boom. So I don't think the poker sites, I mean, while they're decreasing in traffic and everything, I think they will still be there in 10, 15, 20 years probably.
The thing I'd say about that, though, too, is like listen, it used to be 7-card stud, used to be 5-card draw, it used to be whatever. Now it's no limit. There's PLO, there's 5-card, there's 6-card. I hear people are playing now. I mean, I don't even know what the hell that is. Makes no sense to me. But like there's fantasy sports. You can gamble on anything. There's like these sites. They're just, you see stars moving more towards sports. Like there's gonna be new games where you integrate like poker with fantasy sports or like whatever, right? There's always going to be gambling. Like people love to bet on something, so it doesn't really matter. I think that's my thought. Like I don't know if no limit will be there. Just like backgammon got solved, things get solved, things get tougher, but there's always like new iterations and such.
I think backgammon was a little bit different. Obviously that got solved, and no limit could get solved, but still the tournaments. I just still think the poker dream of being able to buy in like a little bit of money and winning a big tournament, that's still always going to be there.
No, for sure, especially live.
The World Series is going to be there for who knows, that maybe 1,000 years, who knows.
Right.
So and WPT probably as well. They don't seem like they're slowing down. Even EPT. I mean, I think the tournament circuit's going to stay strong, and I think the online will. It may not be as strong, but it will still be there. And as you say, there'll be adjustments. People are clever, you know.
Right.
The owners of the sites, they're going to know how to help keep it alive. And no, I don't think it's going to change that much. I think it will just be a gradual, maybe a decrease in volume, but I think it will be still the same.
Or make it. What did you say? I'm sorry. I think I asked you, but maybe in multiple questions. Favorite place to vacation? Where's a spot you've been where you're just like, man, this is sick. I'm gonna go back, or you love it, or you go multiple times?
Well, one other poker spot I do go to a lot is Monaco for their EPT, usually in May. I do like it quite a lot there. Even though it's like expensive and it's a little bit douchey and that, but it's just like an hour. An hour flight or whatever. So I do like there, and I like France in general. Yeah. But yeah, I haven't been to anywhere like super exotic. I like the Bahamas. Obviously, the Bahamas is sick.
Yeah, they do a good job.
I haven't really been on many exotic holidays in a while. So
okay. Someone asked what's wrong with the UK right now, in your opinion? This Brexit thing, did that get pushed finally, or I thought I saw something?
Yeah.
It's done? It's official, or no? I'm out of the loop.
Yeah, I think there's a few things wrong with the with the UK, but I'm not big into politics and
politics, religion. Those aren't the most exciting things to discuss, and always 50-50, right? It's hard to really get it right, I mean, especially when I'm not following it. I don't even know if Brexit happened like legitimately. I think it.
Yeah, I think it was like
it was supposed to
last week actually.
Yeah, I saw something about it. All right, we saw some of the same questions. How does high stakes affect your normal life? Do you feel like does it change you at all, like winning and losing six figures, or are you just kind of like at this point you're pretty balanced? Do you feel like it affects your life?
It definitely affects it less than it used to. I still get affected by it. Like, you know, when you wake up in the morning and you've won 50K the night before, you're waking up with a spring in your step, yeah, and you can have 4 hours sleep and you can go, and that's all good. Yeah. Now, if you lost 50K the night before, you can have a big long sleep and you don't wake up so happy. So it still does affect my moods, definitely less than it used to, and I'm trying to make it affect it less. But when you do play high stakes, even if you have the role to weather the storms of the swings, it still will affect your mood just because the numbers are so big, winning or losing 50, 100, 20K, whatever, it is going to affect your mood.
It's natural. Like, I think that's something you see a lot in home games too, and just in general cash games. Like, it's the same thing. If I'm on Twitch streaming, if I win 5 or 6K, like I feel great. If I lose like 10K or 4K, I'm just like, damn, like that was a day of grinding, I lost. So like, you see that, I think people chase, like on some of these apps, I don't know if you play any of the private apps or different things, but like guys in general just play different, like stuck. People don't like to see that red number. You don't like to put it down on your sheet as like, oh, I lost 12K. Even at a high stakes game, like you might risk 60 to get like that 12 back, or you start flipping, and you just don't want to have L's. Like no one likes to lose. No. I think that's.
And the thing is, in a live game as well, it's so obvious when someone's winning or losing.
Right.
You could be on another table in a casino, and you could hear someone chirping. You're like, okay, he's winning. At a live game, you can really tell in someone's face and their mood whether they're winning or losing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, that's what my dad always said. Win as if you expect it, lose as if you like it. And I think those are the most dangerous. Like what you say, you guys losing, taking bad beats or not running well, and he's chirping, having a good time. Like you're gonna be like, yeah, that dude's got his shit together. Like everything's probably cool. You see a guy that's yelling at the dealer, losing his shit, cursing, just like tilted. You just look.
You're gonna pick on that guy, and now you're gonna go. Yeah. Now you're gonna think he's an easy target. That's what I was telling you before about when I'm tilting in like a big game. I'm not tilting. I'm still playing solid or whatever. But the steam is coming out of my ears, and I'm just sort of talking to myself. And now my big blind is probably a lot easier to steal than it was half an hour ago.
Right. Or guys are gonna just look to get in pots or like.
Yeah, they're gonna look to. You're gonna give off some more tells than you did an hour before because, you'll see a nasty card and and you'll react to it. You go, oh, fucking hate that turn card or whatever. Even though you know you're in a live pot, you shouldn't be
Or you
doing that.
start folding out a turn. You're on the button, and it's like you're on the phone and you're folding, and it's just little shit that just like. What's your favorite food?
I like sushi. Sushi's probably, well, Japanese food is probably my favorite, like high-end Japanese food, or that's my favorite.
Do you ever go out of your way to tilt people? Like, is that part of your game? Like, do you like to kind of nudge people or try to get them going?
No, I mean, obviously, I tilt people like online, and I troll certain different people, but like face to face, I never really want to see someone in pain, and I don't tilt people like that.
Right.
As I was saying, I see people do that in live games. Like I see people purposely trying to tilt Jungle Man, it's not right. I don't do that needling shit. I will do the needling shit like on social media or like away from the table, but like not at the table really, unless I really dislike the person. Like, and I thought he was a complete cocksucker.
Yeah, they're doing it to others or trying to do it to you. You can engage.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I won't slow roll no one or nothing and like that.
And someone asked, what is your favorite moment? Let's just do poker because I know you have two children. I would assume those are, that's pretty beautiful. But favorite moment, let's go poker moment.
It was probably when I won the World Series, even though it wasn't like, obviously it was good money. It wasn't like the most money I've ever won, but just that final release when my 8 was better than his 8. But he stood pat and I stood pat behind. And he winced, and then I knew I had him. And I just remember just like cheering because yes, and that was just a very free moment.
That's
a release of a lot of tension, and it was sick.
That's awesome. What? Someone asked, would you sell your Pusera? What's that mean? I don't even know. Is that a card?
I saw. I don't know what that means.
Okay, maybe it's. I'm not sure the link of some opinion on Jungle Man. We already covered that. He's a Jungle advocate fan, a supporter, right? All around, just nothing but positive things. Chad McVean says this must be a listen. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate we're not live. First time ever, but it's not live. There's some issues, but this will go out on all the different outlets, so I'll be up there for you guys. What made you successful at poker? What tips can you give an aspiring pro for success? Give someone coming up a grinder, someone who's got like all those attributes, boxes ticked, they're able to do it. Give them some advice on how to smooth their ride a bit to the top, or just to make it to do it for a living.
I would say don't take it for like if you've got good talent and you're winning a little bit and it's going all right. Don't take it for granted. Keep going. Don't start betting in other places. Don't start sports betting. Don't start DJing off in a casino. Don't do anything like that. Just stick to what you're good at.
A lot of vices around. That is no doubt that's true. There's a lot of access, bad people. Great people. Some of my best friends are poker,
try not
but
to
a little
take
everything.
people. Try not to borrow people that you don't know. Try to believe in yourself. Try not to trust too many other people. Try and do it. It's a solo job, so try and do it kind of on your own. Try and work out as well. Try and exercise because you'll feel great after exercising, and that will just help you with your mindset, and it will just help you with your day, and lead to better results on the tables.
Good advice. Are you smashed the 25-50 no limit hold'em ring games in full tilt with? Remember the full flush one? What memories do you have about that time? What was it like for you playing online poker back then? Was way different, and your expected win rate, I guess, per day, or you're playing for these crazy amounts of money back then. Like, what was that like? Do you have great memories from then? Was it all fun, or was it pretty? Like, were you sleeping a lot, or did you go to bed at super crazy times? You're in the UK. Probably the games were more geared EST, PST. Yeah. Like, and now also I want to know about your sleep as well, like what your normal schedule is. But tell me about that time and how you were.
Those were very fun times because it was literally like I would win like 98% of the time. Like every day I would win. I was such a favorite to win on the day. I really just had like 330, 340, maybe 350 winning days out of the year, like for that year, for the 2008 and 2009. So that was a pretty sick time, very exciting. I just knew I was like a favorite every game I jumped in. I was only playing no limit heads up and some no limit ring game, and I just felt I had an edge, and I did have an edge, and it was just a sick time. And to be honest with you, without like blowing my own trumpet, I kind of get these feelings a little bit now. I've been kind of doing well on PokerStars, and when I open up the app now, if I just stick to the games that I know I've got an edge, I haven't been. So I don't win at that type of rate. But if I was just to sit there at 8 game or just at the stud 8 or Raz 08, at my best games, it's like I'm winning so much there. It's a similar feeling, and it's really nice. It's just you feel like it's never going to end as well. So
right,
you're in the. I need to stop jumping around in other games and do that. But at the same time, I need to practice in other games. So I can't find a balance. And no one's playing me in my games, so we'll
what is your games? Give me your games. Order your like top games. So someone asked about No Limit or PLO, but you're not playing No Limit really, right? Or not much, or
well, they're in the 8 game. They're both in the 8 game. No Limit and PLO. I say my best games are the stud games, the 3 stud games, stud high low and Raz. Also Deuce to Seven's definitely top 5 game of mine, maybe even top 3. And Omaha high low is a top 5 or a top 3 game. Those 5 games, I like Limit Hold'em as well. I know that the players on Stars and the Limit Hold'em specialists are probably a little bit better than me at the moment, but I'm holding my own versus them. I'm not losing to them, so.
Right.
They might not be better than me. I'm not sure. There's certainly no one at this moment like better than me at stud 8 and 08 and.
So someone that brings me to my next understanding. Someone asking about how you study. You say you don't really do like GTO, PO, these kind of things, but like when you're learning a new game like that, when you're bringing into these mixed games, how are you learning? Are you talking with people? You're playing, you're practicing, but
just play so much. I've just put in so. I've played mixed games now for nearly 10 years or so. I've played them when I've been a dog. I've been through the hardship. I was a dog at them for a while. I played them. I lost, and now I win. So that was my study. And I put several hundred thousands down the drain to now be able to win.
How do you find a spot to study and feel the blood? And get it, like you say, you putting money in, you're like, you go into a new game and you sit down online and you're just like learning. Like, how do you balance like to go to like the high stakes where you're gonna feel it, but you're not a favorite, but you want to give a little, like, where do you go and figure that out? Like, all right, I'm gonna play 2-5 or 5-10 or 10-25, or I'm gonna play this.
That's the thing I've got right now. It's weird. So I'll be on PokerStars now. There'll be 0 action. So I want to go play No Limits, basically. I'm going to play No Limit to train or whatever. So I look at it, I see, because it's the Zoom tables, right? So I could play 50, 100, 25, 50, 10, 20, or 5, 10. Now, if I was real nerdy and everything, I would just play 5, 10 and just put my hours in there and get a bit better there. So, but then I play the 5-10 and it's just a bit too small and I'm not trying, or it's not quite perfect, basically. I 3-betting too much, maybe way happier to shove all in on the river or just do crazy plays where I wouldn't be like that at 25-50. Now, the 25-50, that's a tough player pool. But that's the stakes where it gets my blood going. So that's where I've been doing it. I should probably stick to 10-20 where it's cheaper, but overall I'm not actually losing at No Limit at the moment on there. So I could be running good, or I could be getting good again. Who knows? But I'm gonna stick at sort of 25-50, and if it starts to go bad, I'll probably go back down to 10-20. But yeah, 5-10, I feel like I fuck around too much at that stage.
Okay. Someone asked about, do you continue to partner with High Stakes? What can you tell you about them? I know you've done some stuff with them. I saw you wearing their stuff. I've never used that site. I guess what's that, where they like do stuff? Do you do anything with them, or what is it? Is it a forums, or it's just what is it? It's a site?
No, they've got a poker site though. I used to be with them. It's not much traffic on there. They run High Stakes DB.
Okay, yeah.
And I kind of don't like a lot of the stuff they do on that forum. Like you always see a story like and it's always just a negative story about someone. It's like
kind of
the rise and fall of Eric Lindgren, or the rise Ivy's bad decade, or so and so scam. It's like, come on, man, like.
Right.
You don't need to do this shit, but they need to hit their traffic. It just feels a bit low.
Okay, I get it. I honestly don't know. I've never been on there, but I've heard of it. I know about it. I didn't realize if it was like a news thing or if they do the tracking or what exactly they did. I've seen it before, but
it was You know what? They used to do the tracking for the
yeah. That's what I kind of remember, like way back.
Yeah, they used to do the tracking, and then I think something happened in 2017, and they didn't track anything anymore. So now they had to put out all these bullshit stories just to keep the traffic going, to keep people interested. But
right,
I get tilted actually when I look at it and see some of the stories on there. To be honest with you.
All right, fair enough. Do a few more. There's so many. We're not gonna be able to get to all of them, I don't think. But we've someone asked about Vegas Online. What about William Kassouf? Someone asked about William Kassouf. He's a UK guy. He talks a lot when he plays. He's kind of a character. What are your thoughts on overall on him? Do you think he's like good for the game, or is he like pushing it? Because that's actually interesting. I didn't even know this, that I was in Nottingham. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but I was playing at Dusk Till Dawn, and I played with him actually in a tournament. And he was I had never actually played with him. I've seen a little bit on TV, and I know he's like pushes it, but it was just every hand. I know you got the king, I got the ace of hearts, this, that, every hand he's like saying this shit.
And really, isn't it?
It's a bit much, but it's weird that you can do that because like the rules, it's like these are some major series, Millions Party, one of the biggest series there is, but like World Series, you can't even talk about
doing
the
it
weather.
in the main event, wasn't he? He was getting all sorts of
yeah, but it's
like
just different because it's
penalties or
completely
warning.
different rules. You can do that. You can say anything over in the UK, but you can't talk about the weather in America while you're in a hand. So it's kind of like there's got to be a better balance or a rule because it is kind of like takes away some of the fun. I think people are a bit scared. I can't tell you how many times I've like tried to engage with someone in a hand just like about something like, oh, you got it or whatever. Like, you can't do that, and that seems like a bit like it's a bit overkill where you can't like engage with someone, you know, and that's sort of where it's at.
You want a lot. Well, you can't do that in America.
Say, what do you got, or like, do you have it? Like that, the dealer will be like, no talking while in a hand, like no talking to the player, shit like that. Yeah.
I didn't even know you couldn't do this in America.
Yeah, they'll give you, and honestly, I think it might even be more that they don't even know exactly, and that's just like they err on. That's like what they're taught to sort of just shut down, you know, because they don't want to like whatever. But it's just like it's just so different, you know. It's kind of weird, and I think that's part of it that kills like the banter, the engagement. People kind of get scared like to not talk because that's how they feel it is, you know. And it's good. I think it's good to have it, but the Kassouf factor is kind of like out there too. It's an outlier,
he's kind of one of a kind, and it's a bit cringe what he does, but like I get it. He's not the best poker player, and he wants to have fun. He's kind of a recreational player actually, and he just kind of wants to have fun, and he likes the sound of his own voice and whatever else. So it's like let him do his thing. I mean, if I was at the table and he was being real out of order, I'd say something. But I don't think he steps too out of line. He's just like, it's kind of annoying more than anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Do you have a favorite color? Random.
I like green.
Green color.
I like green. Blue probably second.
Nice. All right, let's do a couple more, and then we're going to do this giveaway. Someone asked, what about drugs? Like, are you marijuana? Do you like anything? Have you been to Burning Man? Do you explore? Do you ever do you like festivals? Do you like to get what's like a party?
I might do a festival sometimes in like in London in the summer or whatever. I've never been to Burning Man. I heard it's very sick.
You gotta go though. That's where I met my wife.
I would go though. Like, I like a shower. I like a hotel. I don't like Airbnb. I like it all very nice. So like, living in a campsite for X amount of days, I don't know how I could do that without sort of getting too tilted. If I was very high on whatever substances, maybe I could, but I don't do drugs. Like, I mean, I don't smoke weed anymore. I've quit. I haven't smoked for about 3-4 months. But if I was to go to Burning Man, I'd assume I'd have to do that type of shit to...
You don't.
I mean, maybe I wouldn't, but
it's a place
I
you want
wouldn't
to
be able to
explore.
go to Burning Man and just happily not have a shower and fucking and all that shit. It's
You
just
gotta,
not.
you gotta misconception. It's a bit misconception. Like the camp we're in too, you don't even need the RVs because like they have it so optimized now where there's like private showers. Like it's dialed in. I mean, you're gonna get dusty, but like you would love it. You should go one time. You should.
Okay, maybe I will. Yeah, I mean, I don't do drugs though. I don't do any drugs. I might drink on a night out. But I don't even have like alcohol with dinner or anything like that. So, gambling is enough of a drug as it is. That's enough.
That's true. Someone just said, "Are you offended when someone calls you a gambler? Like if you're told to be a gambler, do you think that's right? You're a poker player, you gamble. Like where does that side with you?"
No, it doesn't affect. It used to, when people said that back in the day, it used to trigger something, but nowadays it doesn't. I am a gambler.
Someone's asking your total profit amount with poker in your career. It's kind of a tricky question, also a little personal. I actually don't even know if I could tell you mine, right? Because it's just like it all kind of blends together. There's like tournaments, there's cash games, there's pieces, there's staking, all this different stuff. Like if you had to give an estimate, don't have to give your exact number, don't even have to say anything, but like total like profit wise, like it's kind of hard to even put it into like you buy shit, you do stuff, right? Like it's kind of hard to really know.
I've got a big spending habit as well. Like
right.
I spend like a lot of money.
I think that's what people have to remember when you talk about you talk about these guys that you see. Now, granted, there are poker players that are broke, they're in makeup. There's a lot of like that kind of stuff, but the ones that have done well, like ultimately, you're talking about guys that most of us started where you're putting on 50, 100, 200 on an online site, and you basically, you're building up from it. That's the cool part about it. You're not really risking like you're like a businessman and you lose 100 million or something. It's like, all right, no, like most of the people that have done well and started at the beginning started with like basically from the ground up. So everything you see, whether it's their cars, the house, the stakes they're playing, it's basically comes from almost in theory nothing. I think that's an interesting way to look at it. But is that?
I think it would be hard to quantify it, but I think it's certainly over 3 mil, but it could be over 10 mil, and it's probably not over 10 mil. But I think it's somewhere between 3 and 10.
It's crazy. That's a wide range, but it's true, right? Like you start thinking about it, you're like, I don't know. It's hard. It is hard.
It's like tournaments. I'm probably small winner, and I'm probably because I've won decent tournaments like online Woohoops and stuff like that, and then cash for a bit live. My Hendon mob's like 1.5 or something. I don't think I'm in for 1.5, and probably not even. Might only be in for 500. Maybe I'm in for a mil.
Right.
So tournaments probably up a mil maybe overall, and then cash. Yeah, it's hard to know. I won a lot. I've obviously had a few bad years, but I would say. Yeah, somewhere between maybe 3 and 7 mil, something like that.
All right, it's nice. Nice to be in the black. Warren Lush, he did mention kind of it was random because then I ran into you and you were on my list of people I'd love to have on, but he kind of mentioned it too. How well do you know Warren? You known him for a long time?
Well, he used to work back in the day even for all the TV poker things for party poker. So me and him, he's decent banter and that. So
yeah, he's a character, man.
Warren's I've known him a little while. He's witty. I do like him.
Good dude. All right, we'll take our last one to a Galfun challenge. I saw there was some back and forth. Is that something would that interest you? Is there anything with that, or is that just?
Yeah, it looks like. Well, the thing is, we were gonna maybe do it for February, but then his schedule basically got fucked. His Venavidi challenge took longer than he thought. And then we were talking maybe 2 weeks ago, and he said he can't do it till after the summer now. And I would love to do that versus him. I think he's a good poker player. I don't think he's ever been that good at mixed games. I shouldn't even listen. If they put a price up on poker shares or whatever, if I'm like 1.5 or less or more, just go all in. I think the odds of me beating him over like 5 or 10k hands at 8 game is like 95%. I can't see how he could win, actually, to be honest. I don't know if it will definitely happen. I'd love it to happen, but I don't know if it is going to happen.
It's also these challenges, like people don't realize how intensive like time it is. Like these 25,000 hands, like you got to have you playing multiple tables. It takes a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
Galfond thing. This is one challenge he's in. It's like not even a third of the way through, and it's
Exactly.
just like
It's a lot of dedication. To be honest, I don't think he's going to even be able to get through all those challenges. I don't think he's going to do the Action Freak challenge after this. I mean, he's just going to. He's a big favorite to lose over $1 million in this challenge. So then he's going to have to. Yeah, he's going to maybe want to do a softer challenge with Bill Perkins. He might get back his money or get back some of the money that he lost there. And then what? He's going to go and play Action Freak and have a fucking horror time there again. I don't see it.
Yeah,
so maybe he just says, "Fuck all these other challenges. Let's make a show, Luke, and we do it a lot earlier than the summer. Maybe we do it earlier, and that'd be good. But at the moment, it doesn't look like we're going to do it till after the summer."
Okay, and the last one here, there's been these fights, Rast, Mizzy, pretty intense one, Busquet and JC Alvarado. You see Elke and Lex. Is there any? Does that kind of stuff like are you into fighting in this UFC stuff? Like would that ever interest you in any way to have some sort of match like that with someone, or just no interest at all? I don't know if you've ever boxed or even cared. Would that be like fun for you? Someone that you kind of want to like, you don't like hate,
I did like one of those white collar boxing fights a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And that was fun. That got the adrenaline pumping.
Who was that against? I don't even think
it was against a random like Bulgarian, or not Bulgarian, but Eastern European. He was a big lump himself, but I felt like I edged it a little bit. They called it a draw. They always call these things a draw anyway when it's close. Like
unless someone gets.
Yeah, but actually, I did win. He 30 seconds towards the end of the fight, he kind of came in and gave me a hug and said, "Let's allow it." So he didn't really want any more of it, actually. So yeah, I was technically the winner there, but punch for punch, it was kind of close.
I almost missed Marley's comment here. Marley just wrote something, "Pang Ting." I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's because I wrote something. I wrote something on her thing anyway. Don't worry about that.
All right, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'd do a challenge versus someone. It would have to be, I called out Doug loads of times. I'd love to give him a nice lick in the face.
Man, I'll tell you what, like you talk about some
YouTube stars. I doubt you'd do it. It would have to be. I would think someone like Oliver Busquet. He would be a tough challenge. He's ripped as fuck.
Wouldn't want to fight him, that's for sure.
I do quite like that guy though, so I don't know if I'd want to.
I mean,
fight
you
him.
and Doug would be. That would be like.
I'd pay to do that.
That could be pay-per-view, like an opening card for like a legit, like a real fight or something. Like that would be the highest ticket item in poker for sure.
But at the same time, you know what? That guy is such a pigeon these days. I wouldn't even want like. He's just no one. Like he wouldn't do it anyway. So it's kind of silly even talking about it. If he was,
I'm not singling out Doug. I'm just asking, like, if you would ever, if like it was presented the right matchup and someone that you really just thought it would be fun, because like it's nice to not, you don't want to have it where people are trying to like tear their head off, but if you got a little bit of a side thing with someone, or you just kind of want to get a few knocks in, that Kevin Hart Antonio was pretty crazy. I don't know if you heard about that. That was, I was with him when he was
weird. He was 10-1,
30-1, bro.
30-1,
35-1 actually is what he got. I think 35 or 30 now. I'm not sure. 35.
Like 35. Fucking 5'5". Antonio's like 6 foot.
Yeah, and he got to train for a year.
30-1.
Yeah. We had $1 million. We had $1 million on the table for 20-1, like day of the fight. The guy, a friend of ours, wanted to bet, and so my son was being born. It was like April 20th. It was like days before. It was my wife was about to pop. I didn't go out there, but in our group of friends, like there was a message, and it was like 20-1 on a mil, or I'm sorry, 20-1 on 100K to win like it's easy after the fact, but yeah, dude, he's probably like 5-1 or 4-1 or something, or even 3-1. Like it's a snap.
I mean, he won. He was probably a flip.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So that's kind of sick. But
price fights anyway, a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, let's do it. Let's knock this giveaway down. I think we've covered pretty much most of the questions. You did set the record. This wasn't live, which is a bit of a bummer. It doesn't really matter, but kind of nice to. I think people were anticipating to get to live it live, even though it really doesn't matter much. Anything else you want to close with? Anything? I'm going to go ahead and print copy. We're going to let you choose when the giveaway goes, and anything else you want to talk about or mention?
No, I think we covered a lot. I mean, I could talk for hours.
Me too. Me too. I gotta take a leak
Yeah,
in.
I
I
got
got a
shit to do
game
as
here
well.
today. We got a lot, and I know you're busy, man. It's also late over there. Last question though, I do want to ask you sleep schedule. What's your routine normally? Is it just kind of whatever's going, or are you like a 4 or 5 a.m. guy? Do you try to go to bed by midnight? Just depends.
Well, I
Games go
have to
late,
do is
right?
run like 4 days a week, so that means I have to wake up at 7:30. So basically, sometimes I will end up playing late, because just there'll be a good game or whatever else. And I might go to sleep at 5 in the morning and just go on the school run and then sort of go home and go back to bed. But then I'll like miss the gym and it will fuck up my routine. So I really like to go to bed usually by like 1 or 2 o'clock, get 6, 7 hours,
Yeah.
something like that. On weekends, I sleep in a little bit more. I can stay up a little bit later.
Fair
But
enough.
yeah.
Any prop bets? Any big bets? Oh, actually, I did want to cover. This was
Oh,
important.
I did have a funny prop bet actually.
Okay.
So we was playing with Jungle Man, and we were doing press ups, and we were talking about press up. Well, first actually, it came about we was going to do a weight loss bet, and we did do a weight loss bet, and we both. That's why I'm actually lost quite a bit of weight because I was like 100 kilos, which is 220 pounds, right after World Series, and I wanted to lose weight, and I said to Jungle, "Oh, you want to do a bet? We both do. It's like a 40K fine if either of us don't do it." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, 3 month bet." So we both did that anyway. But on the same day we placed that bet, we were talking about press ups, and there's a thing called a clap press up. If I don't know if you know, where
Yeah.
you do a press up and then clap and then press up and clap.
Right.
And we got to talking. Basically, Jungle. I can't remember how it came about, but I got 50 to 1 odds
What?
that I couldn't do 30 clap press ups in a row,
Okay.
and I thought I was. This was a great price.
50 to 1. Who cares, right? Like, fuck it.
Yeah,
You're just like.
it was a great price, and I was 100 kilos. I was very overweight at the time. But I thought, fuck, if I post 2,000 here and
Yeah.
it's for 100 grand, I might be able to just about do it. And long story short, I just fucking did it basically, yeah. And
Wow.
I was like dying by the end. Then there was some
That's awesome.
arguments like, oh, did I do them good enough? And there was some arbitration and that. And basically everyone said I did do them good enough.
Right.
And I kind of felt bad. I ended up giving him I got 42,000. So I gave him 58,000 back.
It's pretty generous settlement. But yeah, dude, those I always say bet
That
on the
was a
man.
sick prop bet though.
That is sick.
I've got the video of it. I was gonna post it one time, but I never got around to doing it. And it was fucking sick because I couldn't have done one more. Like I was dead on the last one.
You
I hit
just
the
willed
stone
it.
lip of
Did he got to watch you do it though live?
Yeah, we were sitting next to each other live. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, all these like crazy bets, the bicycle rides, all this shit. I've been a part of a lot of wild bets.
Yeah,
I've
you
seen.
you had what'd you have a rainbow tattooed for 500,000?
I don't want to confirm the figure, but it was high. It was crazy.
Tell him I'll get a rainbow tattoo on my forehead. I don't know about
Careful.
forehead.
No, but you don't understand. You don't understand. The best part was we were in Amsterdam and we were walking on the streets and it like came up. There was like tattoo parlors everywhere and he's like, "Oh, do you have any tattoos?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Yeah, me neither." And I was like, "Yeah, I was like, And then he was like, "How much do you have to be paid?" And I was like thinking about it and I was like, "Bill's crazy." I was like, I don't know. I know he might snap it off. And it was like the quarter the size of an iPhone 5. That was like what we agreed on like how. And then it was a blank thing. What it was gonna be, and then I said a number. Finally, like literally, like a long time later, he asked me. I just didn't really want to do it because I just didn't want. I wasn't thinking. I wanted to really think about it. I said a number. I was like, "There's no way he'll say yes," and then he was just like booked. I was like, "Fuck," and I was like, "I got to do it. Like I can't not do it at this point." But
And you were able to get it removed as well after 2 years or so, right?
no, well, I still have it, but it could get removed. There's stipulations to it. It's a bit. The sickest part. I'll tell you the sickest part of the whole story was 1 week later we flew back and we were in Florida for the first ever Alpha 8. And same thing. I sell action, whatever. Bill had a big piece, and I played it as 100K. They got 21 entrants or something like that. I'm final 3, And Bill's like, if you win it, or if you hit
get
this
it
amount of
removed.
more, you can take it off. So a week later, and this kid Steve Silverman, I think his name was. It was me, him, and JC
Zugwat.
Tran.
Yeah, I know him.
Zugwat. And I think he had like, I don't want to say the percent, but it was something super. He was very small, and we sat and took a break for like dinner, and we looked at the numbers like ICM chop. I was in second, and it was like, I think I ended up getting 360, but JC and I did a 50K saver, so I got 414. But the number that would have been if we just did a 3-way deal, it qualified for my get it off, like, 'cause it would have been like 700 each or something, or 680 or something. And then we don't do the deal. Like a couple hands after dinner, I get it all in with 2 pair versus JC Tran's flush draw to knock him out, be heads up with the chip lead, and he just bangs it on the turn. And then and then I was still in, and then I get out. But like literally, I'm like a hold away from being heads up, qualifying, and now here I am, 7 years later, I still got it. I mean, it's all good. I'll get it at some point. Honestly, I forget about it. I really do. Other than when I'm like,
anyway, is it faded?
I don't know. I don't look at it. Come on.
Yeah, anyway.
Luke, I can't. Come on, man. The memory's too strong.
Oh, bro.
Luke, our next podcast, I'll put it on for you. How about that? We'll do another one. You'll be a repeat guest for sure. So prop bet world's crazy. All right, listen. This is we covered a lot. Let's do this real quick on your count. Let's do the giveaway here. Someone's gonna get a $55 ticket courtesy of Mr. Luke, and well, congrats on the ACR signing. This is a party poker ticket, but congrats on doing the deal with them, and tell me when.
All right, whatever giveaway, I'll give that. They've got 110 from me on ACR.
Damn. All right, look at that. That's we're doing records making. Look at this. Luke's out here giving away, very generous. So you tell me when, and someone's gonna win the 55 and then a 110. We'll make it 110 on party. I'm not getting blown out by Nagy and
Let's make it 220 then.
Yeah. 220, a 220
it's
giveaway.
220, big man.
220 for you from ACR.
220 from me and 220 from you.
All right, deal. Fuck, I'm just signing off on it. If they say no, I'll handle it. So 220, 220. So we're gonna do. We're gonna give us one person 220 and 220 because you can only do once on this thing. So someone's winning 440 worth of tickets right now. Exciting stuff. You tell me when.
Now.
Oh. Well, we're going to have to redo that. Just like we had to redo on our start to the stream, I copied it wrong. One more second here. Damn, man. Technology, not my forte. All right, we're going to copy this. We're going to go here, and now tell me when.
Now.
That is a $440 giveaway in the books. And Don Yugoslavia, likely from Yugoslavia, is going to win it. So we're going to message him. And boom, that's big time right there. Luke, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. This was a blast. We will definitely have you on again. And good luck on the high stakes, everything else you're doing. Legend of the game. It's on the thing, the PLO or GOAT of UK poker in the mix tonight. Appreciate it. Give him a follow on Twitter, and we'll see you soon, man.
Nice one, Jeff. Lovely speaking to you.
You too, bro. Have a good one. Thanks, guys. Luke Schwartz, also known as Full Flush. That's him. This will be up on iTunes, Spotify, all the places. Check it out and enjoy. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think, and we'll have him on again.